ABC Sports coverage of the 2023 Sir Doug Nicholls Round. Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Celebration of culture, of country and belonging. The Greater Western Sydney Giants finally make their way back to the venue which bears their name. They've not played here at Giants Stadium since the first day of April, as is customary around the Easter show and surrounding weeks. Today, they get a St Kilda outfit that had a promising start to the year, outclassed by the Crows in Adelaide last week. They find themselves in danger of falling back to the pack. They've not had back-to-back wins since round 4, and a massive inclusion today up forward for them. Max King makes his return. Toby Green is back for the Giants. They're always better with their skipper on the park, and the numbers prove it. They are 0-3 without Toby Green. He returns today in game number 190. Giants and the Saints bring the curtain down on round 10. This is Grandstand AFL via ABC Sport. My name is Brett Sprigg, and alongside me to call the action, as always, is Daniel Garb. Hello, Garby.
Hello, Spriggy. Great to be with you for the final game of Sir Doug Nicholls Round, and a fascinating one that looms as a very even contest on paper. I mean, the Giants have been bullish since Adam Kingsley's come in that they want to play finals in his first year. Well, they have to win today if they want to keep those hopes alive. And what are the Saints? I think everyone's wondering that. Are they the real deal? Are they a top 8 team like they showed in the first month? Or are they going to just fade away like they did last season? Today will probably give us a strong indication on that. It's a game they need to win, I think, if they're going to be a top 8 side at the end of the season. So a lot at stake.
Mostly blue skies here. Of course, the match will finish in the evening twilight or early evening. The players are gathering here for our welcome to country. The team news, by the way, no late changes. Toby Green headlines the inclusions for the Giants alongside Jake Riccardi and Kieran Briggs. Out goes Brown, Lloyd and Flynn, all omitted. Cal Ward was last week's sub, and he is the sub again this week for the home side, while for St Kilda, Max King comes back in. Ginny Webster and Jade Gresham replacing Tim Memory out with a head knock. Cooper Sharman and Jack Bytel, who are emergencies today. And Ben Patton is the 23rd man for St Kilda as they chase their 7th win of season 2023. We are on Barramadigal and Wongal land, which is essentially where inner Western Sydney meets the broader boundary of Western Sydney. The key feature is the lands and waterways of the Parramatta River, and the Wongal and Barramadigal are clans of the Darug Nation and Language Group. And we'll have our official welcome to country now on the members' wing here at Giants Stadium.
As we welcome Michael West to perform today's Welcome to Country and Smoking ceremony.
Thank you, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. My name is Brendan. I'm the cultural representative and cultural educator from Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council in Sydney. And our role as Aboriginal Land Council under the Land Rights Act, we are the cultural authority and the guardians and custodians of land within our boundaries. It gives me great honour this afternoon to welcome you to country. And the land that we're gathered on here traditionally was owned by the Wongal people. And the Wongal, one of 29 tribes that make up the Eora Nation. And the boundaries for the Eora Nation start from the ocean, and they're surrounded by 3 of Australia's most beautiful rivers. We have the Hawkesbury River, the Nepean River, and the Georges River. In between those 3 mighty and beautiful rivers, we have 29 tribes that make up the Eora Nation, and the name of the tribe you're gathered on here today is Wongal. The Wongal people are part of a songline, and that songline is related to Barramata and Barramadigal country, the eel. And that little black eel starts his journey from up at Barramadigal, swims all the way along the rivers, all the way out to Sydney Harbour, and goes across to Vanuatu. He turns around and he swims all the way back. And the Wongal people are custodians for that songline, the eel. So on behalf of the Wongal people, whose ancestors and spirit is still in the lands and the waters, on behalf of Metropolitan Aboriginal Land Council, as the cultural authority on lands, it gives me great honour to welcome you all here this evening. Welcome to Wongal country. Thank you for having me.
Always a stirring welcome. Both clubs, of course, looking striking as ever in their Indigenous Guernseys. The Saints this week in the black, red and yellow, of course, the colours of the Aboriginal flag, replacing their traditional black, red and white. And the players' break and the opening bounce here is just 5 minutes away. Both sides coming off their biggest losses of the year too. The Giants by 65 points at the hands of the Magpies, and St Kilda, who beyond their wins had only the 2 losses by single-figure margins, Garby, to Collingwood and Port. There's no question they were soundly beaten by the Crows last week.
Yeah, so they did this last season under Brett Ratton. The first half of the campaign, we thought the Saints look so sound defensively around the ground and they're a top 8 side, and they started to fade away. So new coach, new era under Ross Lyon. Do they hold up or do they drop away, which they've looked to have been doing over the last month or so? That'll be really interesting. Today will give us a strong indication.
The questions we'll pose to our experts. Firstly, former Swan and Blue, Jason Saddington. G'day, Sado.
Thanks, Briggy.
We're looking forward to today.
Mate, look, I think what we do have is, like you said, 2 teams coming off their worst losses last week. So who is going to bounce back best? I do believe, though, when you look at both teams, they're not ultra high scoring teams. I know the Saints have been super defensively. And when you look at the Giants, the games they've played this year, they've probably struggled most against the teams that are quite high scoring and free flowing and very offensive. You know, they came up against Collingwood last week, the Giants, and really struggled to hold that wave of offensive ball movement. Coming up against St Kilda today, who aren't that type of team to really take the ball forward quickly and try and hurt you constantly, it might suit the Giants, I think, for a bounce back this week.
And alongside you, she was a late call-up, which we're all the better for it, the Giants captain, Alicia Eva. Nice to see you, Alicia.
Hello again, gentlemen. Thanks for having me today. Very excited to be here on Sir Doug Nicholls' round, and was just across in the Giants function earlier, and Nicky Winmar was over there, so football royalty. Yep. What an icon he is. So I'm really excited for this game today.
There'll be a Q&A, I think, at half-time with Nicky Winmar, which is a feature of today. Of course, the final game of round 10, Sir Doug Nicholls' round in the AFL. The opening bounce is just moments away. Nice to see a cohort of St Kilda's Indigenous players out there. Of course, Isaiah Wanganeen Millera, who's Narunga and Kakata heritage in South Australia. Of course, Bradley Hill out there as well, who's a Noongar man. And nice to see as well. The toss is just moments away. Let's head boundary side. Declan Byrne is down there for us. G'day, Declan.
Yeah, g'day, guys. It's fresh down here. The sun's disappeared for this late Sunday game. Feels like about 12 degrees. It's been a pretty windy day in Sydney all day, and it's hanging around a little bit. Might have died off just a touch. The ground, though, looks a little bit patchy. I was walking around in between the VFL and this game, and maybe due to the Easter show, a few muddy, bare, slippy patches, so I'll be interested to see if that affects play at all. Yeah, as you said, the subs for GWS, Cal Ward, and for the Saints, Ben Patton.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? They've not played here since April 1st, so it was a fair while ago. I understand, Sado, that the AFL have in some informal part expressed their displeasure with the state of the ground, but we'll see if it holds up. Of course, the VFL was here earlier, no dramas there, but of course it doesn't look great.
No, and Alicia, you probably have a bit more insight from the VFL game earlier. The Giants trained here on Friday, and you could see some parts are quite skiddy. There's not a huge coverage of grass, so it did skid a little bit. And as the sun goes down and the dew perhaps starts to come in with the cooler temperatures, it could get a little bit slippery.
I'll spare you the Tony Greig pitch inspection and sort of go into all of that. But Max King is the one I want to talk about. I mentioned Toby Green for the Giants. Max King, they were so dependent on him last year, weren't they, the Saints? And this year, of course, his first game back. How do you readjust your forward line? How do you sort of reintegrate someone so important like that back into your side without sort of losing your balance up forward?
That is a great question. I mean, lots of forward lines are built around having a big bear in the square, so to speak. And, there might be some slight adjustments going on, but I think, number one, you want your big key forwards. If they're not marking it, they've got to bring the ball to ground, and the process won't change from a small forward perspective. They've got to get front and centre.
Meanwhile, the MCG, Magpies lead the Blues by 35 points there at half-time. It's the final game of round 10. The orange tsunami rings around Giants Stadium. The Giants and the Saints, ABC Sport. Here's Daniel Garb.
Kieran Briggs back into the Giants side for his first game of the season. He's never lost at Giants Stadium. Perhaps that was an omen selection. He's up against Rowan Marshall, fresh off 49 hitouts last week, and he's got the first one of the game. Giants get hands on the ball, though, through Tom Green. Ryan Burns puts his head over it for the Saints. He's wrapped up by Brent Daniels. Another ball up inside the centre square. The Giants are kicking to the left of your radio dial. Briggs wins the hit out. Picked up by Cornelio. It bounced off Jack Steele's shoulder. He kicks it inside 50. Well done by Callum Wilkie back there for the Saints to win the ball defensively. He's been excellent for them all season. They go out to half-back St Kilda looking for Jimmy Webster. It bounces in front of him and sits up nicely. Handball to Seb Ross, who almost slipped on the average surface. Now kicks to half-forward.
Strong towering grab taken by Himmelberg, though, for the Giants. He intercepts just forward of left half-back. Yeah, big divot off that boot of Seb Ross down in front of us here on the western side, so keep an eye on that as Himmelberg just sends it back from whence it came. High ball towards half forward, 3-on-2. Briggs goes up there. Up in there as well was Josh Battle for the Saints. At the drop, Kelly dispossessed. Angwin fires the hand pass back to Cornelio. Takes on the tackler, fires out the hand pass. Still alive here for Kelly. Sockers it back infield here for O'Halloran. Tries to enter. The kick was partly smothered by Wilkie. The rebound here through Jack Sinclair.
Caminiti launches at it on the wing and takes the mark well. Handball inside to Brad Hill. Through the corridor the Saints go. He kicks to half forward. Haynes cuts across, slaps it away. And the Giants get hands on the football through Finn Callahan looking for Bedford. Wanganeen Miller gets there first though. Now Whitfield for the Giants. This surface is an issue. Players are slipping everywhere. Briggs, and now to Lockie Ash running off half back. Callahan in the middle of the ground. He has a man free at half forward and Cornelio goes over his head and Toby Green marks back into the Giants side. Toby Green with his first possession of the game.
Taken by Mason a little bit. No 50 coming here as he goes inside 50 and he finds the marking target. Nice work down there from Daniels in best position. He takes the overhead mark, 25 out, slightly left of centre.
Oh, lovely hit up from Toby Green. He was trying to con the umpire into a 50-metre penalty after he took the mark, copped a clip over the head. But a lovely inside 50 entry from Toby to hit Brent Daniels, who a bit quiet last week, but has been in fantastic form in the earlier parts of the season.
11 goals for on the year for Brent Daniels. Curls around the angled approach and has the first goal of the game the Giants' way. They're 1 straight 6 GWS. St Kilda yet to score. 2.5 played in the opening term here on Grandstand AFL.
Well, Adam Kingsley would be really pleased with that start. Really quick ball movement from across half-back by the Giants there. And Toby just having the awareness to, he tried to con the umpire into the free kick, but then having the patience to hit up the small forward, leading up at him. I think many teams get used to that when that ball's held up 60 to 70 out, that ball goes long to the top of the goal square. But just lower his eyes and hit up Brent Daniel well.
Garby, I reckon you're right in the call there. A couple of players slipping over. We've seen Toby Green slip. I think Seb Ross slipped on the wing here. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out, especially as it starts to get a bit cooler and perhaps gets a bit more slippery out there.
Hopefully the players can adjust, but it's not a good look early on. The Giants with the first goal of the game, though. Brent Daniels, who failed to kick a goal across the last 2 weeks in GWS defeats, gets the first of the game here at Giant Stadium. GWS 1 straight 6. Saints yet to score. Try and win it out in the middle, St Kilda through Mitch Owens. Gets hands on it again. Looping handball to Ryan Burns. He finds Higgins at half forward. Plays on quickly to Brad Hill. He kicks it over the top and finds his skipper in Jack Steele, the former Giants, of course.
Match-up one. Looks like Steele and Tom Green going head-to-head at the moment. 2 Canberrans head-to-head.
Steele called to play on. Sends it high inside, forward to 50. Strong drag up there, Max King. Does well, parts himself under it and takes the mark. 20 out on a slight angle to the left.
That answers your question there, Spriggy. How do they go entering 50 with Max King back in the team? Just go straight to him, Alicia.
Yeah, to the top of the square where those big key forwards should be. And I think, what the Giants have had to do is they've had to throw Harry Himmelberg back. Jack Buckley's got the match up on Max King at the moment, but Harry Himmelberg's gone back to manage some of the other tools down there.
He's almost directly in front here, Max King, so slight misjudge of the angle as Fraser when he took the mark. And he's on the approach here, Max King. The Saints to hit back, and they do so now at the other end. 1 straight 6 apiece, 4.5 played here in the opening term on ABC Grandstand AFL. And by the way, that game at the MCG, Collingwood-Carlton, you can find the full call of that on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the ABC AFL button. Of course, the entire AFL season is streaming live there on the ABC Listen app. Just find it in the App Store.
Every single St Kilda player got around Max King then after he kicked that goal. And I think the game is much better when he's playing. When you see him at full flight, it's pretty incredible. So, handy for him to hit the scoreboard early, and the St Kilda fans will be very happy seeing that.
And both teams with their goal-scoring inclusions in. Toby Green was obviously hit up Brett Daniels for the first goal for the Giants, and great to see Max King straight out. And like you said, Alicia, every single player got around him, which is obviously a huge spark for the Saints to have him out there.
Kicked 52 goals and 41 behinds last season, Max King. Accuracy is sometimes an issue for him. It wasn't on that occasion. He's off the mark in 2023. One straight 6 apiece as Marshall just palms that down to Seb Ross, and the Saints go inside 50 again. It went through the legs of Nick Haynes. Strong work by Himmelberg, who's playing down back though to put the tackle on Mitch Owens. Now the Giants can rebound through Whitfield and Callahan. He pokes one up the wing and finds James Peatling. He wanted to play on quickly. He was held up though by Wanganeen Millera. Peatling now goes with the kick on the 45. Well done by Jack Higgins to get across and spoil that away from Tom Green. Green wins it back though. And Ash is able to provide some support. He gets it to Whitfield. And now Perryman with his first possession of the game. He's got it on the wing. Kicks it up to half forward for the Giants. Briggs, the big ruckman, was the target. It's spoiled away from him. We'll have a boundary throw in. Right half forward for the Giants. One straight 6 apiece here at Giants Stadium. 6.5 gone in the first quarter. Here's Brett Sprigg on Grandstand AFL.
There's sections of fans on the outer side. The light towers are on. Of course, still the late afternoon, of course, will finish the game in the evening later on. As round 10 comes to a close. Briggs out of the ruck, dispossessed. Perryman on hands and knees, works it forward here by hand. Clever hand pass in. What did Toby Green, who can snap from the pocket and rides home the finish as well. Nice little goal assist from Brent Daniels. First it was Green to Daniels for the first goal of the game, and then Daniels returns the favour with the goal assist. And Toby Green on his return scores the goal. The Giants have their second. 2 straight 12. The Saints are 1 straight 6. 7 gone here in the opening term.
And lovely to see Toby Green out. I'm glad they're both in, Max King, Toby Green. Might add to the entertainment we get here tonight. And what we think is going to be a terrific game of football. And so far it started that way. We're 7 minutes in. Both teams hitting the scoreboard. Max King back in, kicking the first goal. Toby Green now kicking one, was instrumental in the first goal. So 2 goals to 1. It's good to see. It's open play. It's pretty free flowing at the moment, Alicia. Off the back of 2 teams that probably struggled at times throughout the year to create a lot of opportunities for goal.
I'll let you call this, Garby.
Toby Green off the mark in game 199. So the big milestone coming up next week away to Geelong. That'll be a tough assignment. As Briggs wins it off the centre bounce, down to Green. The Giants with the handball from Kelly. Move it out now through Whitfield to half forward. Lockie Ash hooked in board for a teammate. They've coughed it up though. Coming across there to cut that off was Harry Himmelberg, who's doing some sweeping work in defence for the Giants. Bradley Hill tries to get a free on the wing, does so to Mitch Owens. He kicks it just inside 50. Haynes wins front position, opposed to Jack Higgins. And now through Connor Iden and Cameron Fleeton in his second game. The Giants can move it up to the wing. Sinclair's under it, off his hands. O'Halloran is first to the football. He's wrapped up. And we'll have a ball up in front of the interchange gates. The Giants 2 straight 12. St Kilda 1 goal and 6 points.
I was just going to mention Brent Daniels and how important he is to this Giants lineup when he comes back in.
Down here to Clark for the Saints. He was dispossessed. Loose ball gathered by Kelly. Handball out wide here. Daniels on the bounce receives it. Now goes back infield now. Tom Green. Which chain of hand passes this? Daniels just pops a kick inside 40. Back with the flight. O'Halloran takes the chest mark. Controls it. 50 from goal. Sends it deep to the pocket now, where again he's in best position, Daniels, to mark.
Wow.
Had a great start, Alicia.
Yeah, hasn't he? That made me look good. No, I was going to say, he's passed it off here.
Goes back inboard now to find Kelly, as you were.
Just what he brings to this Giants lineup is genuine speed matched with elite foot skills. And I think it's probably something the Giants in the past have been pulling their hair out for in terms of if he's not playing, who provides that spark in the forward 50? So he's had his hands on it plenty of times, and this will be his 3rd score involvement here.
Josh Kelly, 2-time best and fairest. He was a co-captain last year, and his preferred left boot with the set shot doesn't let them down. The Giants have 3. They're 3 straight 18. The Saints are 1 straight 6. 10 gone to the opening term here on ABC Sport. This is Grandstand AFL.
Well, smart call for Brett Daniels in the end to probably pass it off. You got Josh Kelly free inside 50. Why wouldn't you? And when you have a look at the way he hit that footy, it was just sweet off the left foot. Never looked like missing from 50 out. It was a beautiful finish from Josh Kelly. It's been some nice ball movement from the Giants. It's been quite an open game so far. We haven't seen too many stoppages. Both teams looking to move the ball fairly freely and quickly from half back through into inside 50. And both teams have had opportunities to do that so far. So far, though, the Giants probably just outdoing St Kilda in terms of possession, 46-23 total disposals as we speak.
So the Giants with a 12-point lead early. Josh Kelly busy, 5 disposals and a goal. Brent Daniels, 5 disposals, 3 score involvements. As Alicia Eva said, he has been a live wire up forward. And the Giants win it out of the centre again through Tom Green. The kick to half forward. Riccardi couldn't mark, picked up by Peatling though, and he's found Toby Green on the lead. So Green will kick from the right forward pocket, 20 metres out, and the Giants well and truly on top early stages of the first quarter.
Kieran Briggs, the addition in the ruck's been pretty strong so far against Rowan Marshall, and he's won his fair share of hit-outs, and he's actually given first use in the middle. Tom Green getting the clearance that time. Matt Flynn had been the preferred ruckman for the first rounds across this season. Briggs, great form.
Toby Green snaps it on his left and pulls it near side. So the Giants first behind of the game. They are 3-1-19. St Kilda 1 straight 6, and we've gone 11 and a half minutes in the first quarter.
Alicia, keen to know about Jake Riccardi, of course. 2 goals, 2 from 7 marks in the VFL last week, back in the side this week.
Yeah, he's been a really strong target up forward, whether he's playing AFL or VFL.
Sinclair finds Wood at right half back.
He keeps doing his job week in, week out. I think bringing Riccardi into the team this week, it's allowed Harry Himmelberg to go back, so there's probably a match-up reason for that. But also, he's been performing at VFL level, so good to see him get rewarded.
Out half forward here, Fleeton is wrapped up in defence for the Giants, or balled up there on the front edge of the square. St Kilda's attacking zone.
Is it one of the first times Cabman and Riccardi played in the same team?
At AFL level,
be,
yes.
yeah.
I think it is the first time, because he last played in round 4, Riccardi, and Cabman debuted in round 5. So there you go. On hands and knees here, trying to just work it away. Hunter Clark is wrapped up and will ball up there in that corner of the centre square. The Giants lead here by 13 points, 12.5 played in the opening term.
Riccardi in the ruck now, opposed to Rowan Marshall, who wins it clearly, but then had a fresh air trying to dispose of it. Ryan Marshall. Cornelio gets hands on the footy, squeezes a kick out to the wing. Wrapped up is Webster. Got the handball free though to Crouch, and now Hill. Can the Saints get something going? They're under pressure. Jack Steele had his handball affected. They work it back to Crouch, who just dumps one to half forward. Doing well was Riccardi to drop back in front of that pack. Now Haynes kicks it to centre half forward for GWS. Big fly. Mark wasn't taken. Handball backwards, looking for a teammate for the Giants. It was Hogan who was around the ball, and now St Kilda trying to work it forward, but the pressure is intense from GWS. Mason Wood finally gets hands to it. Sinclair and now Max King at right half forward, a long way from home.
Yeah, still 70 out here, Max King, and his first game back. Options inside 50 though, sends it long out the back. He's got Gresham, who's unmarked, goes back with the flight, now snaps on goal from the top of the square and bangs it through for the Saints' second. GWS 3-1-19, St Kilda 2 straight 12, 13.5 played in the opening quarter here on Grandstand AFL.
There's the importance again of Max King, just a target to hit up, this time across centre half forward. Had the great vision to see Gresham just sneaking out the back on Nick Haynes, who really got lost under that ball. I think he lost sight of where the ball was off Max King's kick. He didn't realise it was coming in long to Gresham, who just had enough meterage to get it over the back. Haynes caught too far in front, able to play on and just get a nice, easy left foot snap from inside the goal square.
Jade Gresham, averaging a goal a game, has managed to maintain that rate. The goal in the first quarter here. The Giants with a 7-point lead. GWS pressure was excellent there. The Saints worked well, didn't they?
Well, it was, but none of the tackles stuck. There's a lot of tackles going on, but the Saints were able to get their hands free every time and dish it off.
GWS 3-1-19, St Kilda 2 straight 12. And I'll call this back after the centre bounce. The lights on here in Western Sydney. Clear skies above. And the crowd is just building a little bit. Decent gathering here at Giants Stadium. St Kilda win it out of the middle through Crouch. Long kick inside 50 off hands. Iden gets to it first, but his handball is straight to Mason Wood. He was able to spot up Brad Crouch, who was a shot on goal from 48 metres, and dropping in front to take the mark is Dan Butler. Just as it looked like it was going through for a behind, Butler read it beautifully and has marked and will kick from a very tight angle, but only 5 metres out.
Certainly looking to be the St Kilda small forwards that are causing some headaches down there.
The Butler will run around on his left and snap it through for the Saints' third of the game. They are 3 straight 18, the Giants 3-1-19. Dan Butler on the board.
That was probably off St Kilda's first centre clearance. Riccardi was the ruck that time. So Marshall having the opportunity to probably get the advantage as the centre bounce. St Kilda get their first centre clearance to win it forward. So it'll be interesting to see what does happen around that. Himmelberg has been the backup ruck every week for Flynn. It's a whole different combination this week. Briggs has been good early when he's been in there, but with Riccardi in there now, what's going to happen with centre bounce? Probably hasn't done a lot of centre bounce rucking, so maybe this is an opportunity for St Kilda to get some advantage.
Dan Butler, once a premiership Tiger, response here for St Kilda.
Just looking at the Giants matchups down back, Nick Haynes is on Gresham. Again, Nick Haynes, a very aerial type player. He's actually dropping off Gresham a little bit here at this centre bounce. So he clearly wants to get ascendancy in the air, but the Giants defenders are going to have to be careful of what's going on at ground level.
Restart in the middle. Up in the ruck goes Owens. Follows up now. The Saints will win the clearance. They go inside forward 50. A high ball from the boot of Crouch. They set up just inside the arc there for St Kilda. At the drop, Angwin puts a tackle. The ball carrier down there will ball it up 55 from goal, and underneath all that, Mason Wood gets back to his feet. He was the one brought to ground. 55 out here with a stoppage. Close to home here for the Saints. Seb Ross tapping up down there with Perryman. And away the Giants go through Bedford. Just chips a kick out towards the southeastern wing. It goes end over end. Cadman keeps it alive only for a moment. The Saints here combine. Nice work it was initially from Liam Stocker. And we'll just settle things down on the wing for a moment now. Burns sends his kick up the line. And content just to settle things down for a second here for the Saints. And now thumping it back inside 50 is Stocker. High towards the paint. Intercept mark is taken by Haynes.
Number 1 in the competition for intercept possessions, Nick Haynes. So certainly, or number 1 for marks, sorry. 7th for intercept marks. So he's making a habit of that as he kicks up to half forward. Callum Wilkie at the other end is actually number 1 in the comp for intercept possessions. Knew I had that stat somewhere on my sheet. As the Giants try to handball their way out of trouble, it's picked up now by Butler of St Kilda. Left half forward. Cute kick to find Max King inside 50. A lot of skill on show there from Dan Butler just to spot up the lead of King and weight that perfectly.
Cute kick, smart kick. That's exactly what it was. He did look long early, but Giants had the numbers back to just pull the kick nicely there on his left and hit Max King up on the lead. Very smart play, Dan Butler.
So Max King in for his first game of the 2023 season. He's already got 1 goal for the afternoon. The Saints spearhead. Pick 4 in the 2018 draft. Just missed this one to the near side through Foray behind. So scores level here at Giants Stadium, 3-1-19 apiece.
Lachie Whitfield to kick out for the Giants. Now 3rd on the all-time games list, 194th game today. Of course, as you said, Garvey, Toby Green will get there next week, and Lachie Whitfield shortly after. High towards the outer side. Going up again, Owens fires the hand pass out here. Still alive for the Saints, and Dougal Howard involved as well. They tumble it inside forward 50. And it goes out at the junction of 50. Left half forward for St Kilda at the Olympic Stadium end. Scores level 3-1-19 apiece here as we approach time on in the opening quarter.
Thought this might be a tight game to finish off the round. It is looking that way in the early stages as Peatling jumps up to meet the ball at halfback for the Giants. He's wrapped up by Jack Steele. Kelly and Green already with 6 touches for GWS. Mason Wood, Jack Sinclair, Brad Crouch with 5 for the Saints in the first quarter. Here's another one for Seb Ross. Finds space at half forward, kicks on his right, looking for King. He was worked under the football legally according to the umpire. Angwin back there sweeping for GWS with hands. They move it out now to Finn Callahan has to get around a couple of tackles. GWS under big pressure. And with the strong tackle down there, Caminiti wraps up the Giants in Cornelio. We'll have a ball up inside 50 for the Saints.
Pressure's definitely lifted from the Saints. They're really starting to stick their tackles, put a lot more pressure on the Giants when they have the footy.
GWS Kilda a 3-1-19 apiece. Stoppage inside 50 here. Crouch hand pass goes nowhere. Only goes over the boundary line, in fact. 45 out from the St Kilda goal.
We have seen, even though it's Mitch Owens in the ruck now against Riccardi, he's actually getting the dominance in there as well. St Kilda have had the clearance wins nearly every single time now that Briggs has been off for the Giants.
Back in it comes. Riccardi against Caminetti. It's now well up by Caminetti. Piling from all angles now as well. The Giants with numbers. Involved was Riccardi. Out to Fleet. Spent it before he had it. Get some pressure in there as well from Mateus Philippou. Saints bring it back here. Handball was chopped off though. Ross gives chase. Loose ball gathered again by Perryman. Hand pass comes back in field now for Whitfield. And the Saints, or the Giants, have a chain going here. Bedford works it wide. Out just forward to the wing. Whitfield a handball on the bounce. And they're surging forward on the outer side of the ground. Callaghan puts it up towards half forward. It's a strong grab taken down there by Perryman, who goes inside forward 50 and delivers nicely inside 50 to find Cadman. So Cadman takes the mark, 45 out, slightly right of centre.
First touch today for young Aaron, but he's certainly got this distance in his leg. Booming left foot here on his preferred side now.
As I say, debuted in Gather Round back in round 5. 3 goals, 1 on the year. So last year's number 1 draft pick. Aaron Cadman connects from 50. It's got the distance, but just missed a lot to the right-hand side. You weren't wrong about the distance at least, Alicia. It's no change to our score. 3-1, 19 apiece here, the Saints and the Giants here on Grandstand AFL.
He failed to kick a goal in the last 2 weeks, Aaron Cadman, so like one early, that was an opportunity which didn't quite make the most of. As Callum Wilkie gets it back from Wanganeen Millera. Gets to right half back and finds Hunter Clark. Well done by Brent Daniels to cut across though and affect that contest. It falls the way though of Liam Stocker. Kicks to centre half forward for St Kilda. Big leap by Himmelberg. Over the top of Philippou. Was able to bring it down. And wrapped up now for the Giants is Fleeton by Higgins. Ball up, centre half forward for St Kilda. Marshall palms it down. Tom Green's under it. Wrapped up by Jack Steele. Breaks free of the tackle. Does Tom Green, but the ball spills free as well. To Jade Gresham. Snaps it to a dangerous area. And taken high was Mitch Owens. That is surely a free kick. Directly in front, 15 metres out. It is paid.
Just a little clip over the shoulder in the marking contest allowed the free kick. I'm fascinated with this matchup, Jack Steele and Tom Green. I'm sure there's plenty of banner out there. It's a bit Marist, Canberra boys' school against Balconnen. There'll be a lot of chit-chat between those two. I don't think they played a lot of junior footy together, but certainly well aware of each other, Tom Green and Jack Steele.
So Mitch Owens, in his second season of AFL football, 13 goals for the campaign, having a massive impact at the Saints. That is not his best moment of the season, though. He's missed from directly in front, one he should have converted. The Saints 3-2-20, the Giants 3-1-19.
Whitfield finds some space in the right back pocket, draws the player, handballs out wide here. Pressure on Lockie Ash. The Giants work it beyond defensive 50 though, out on the outer side. Handball out in space now for Bedford. Runs onto it now. Ross goes with him. Bedford's kick comes up inside 50, a little too deep for Briggs, and Wilkie obliges at the back there for the Saints to take the defensive grab.
Been excellent this season, Callum Wilkie. Kicks up towards the wing. Underneath it is Jack Steele. Couldn't mark. Giants all around him. Tom Green wins it back. High ball to right half forward. Riccardi's underneath it. He had the size advantage on Sinclair. Couldn't take the mark though. Giants pressure leads to a turnover. Brent Daniels has hands on the football again. Went inboard looking for Perryman. It was spoiled away from him. It's a little bit scrappy. Giants have it at centre half forward. Quick kick from Kelly inside 50. Halloran couldn't meet it and gather it cleanly. And now the Saints can recover through Butler, Steele, and Dougal Howard sends it to Higgins at right half back.
Higgins is paid the free kick for a high tackle. It's Himmelberg. He's off here, but yeah, we'll call him back. Jack Higgins, good game last week. Kicked 3 goals against the Crows. So kicked 4 goals, 3 last time these sides met last year at Monica. Sinclair plays on. Was tackled late by Cadman. But it goes to the other side here. Wanganeen Millera out in space. Traps it in front of Bedford. Works a hand pass back to Wilkie. Out it goes to Bradley Hill. Draws it back here to Wanganeen Millera, who's got some space here to bounce. Looks at the options inside forward 50. Leading up and marking. It was nice work out there from Rowan Marshall. And he goes inside forward 50. Skids away from Himmelberg, and it goes out of bounds for a throw-in left-hand side of the posts here at the Giants Stadium. 3-1-19 the Giants. The Saints are 3-2-20. 25 gone here in the opening term on Grandstand AFL.
He just didn't hit that as well as he would have liked, Rowan Marshall. That was off his ankle, I think, and ended up coming in low and flat. When you got big key forwards, you want that coming in with some height.
Caminiti and Briggs doing the ruck work. Inside attacking 50 for the Saints. Briggs gets hands to it. Handball over the top to Perryman. Quick kick away, but it's marked by Wanganeen-Millera. 60 out from the Saints goal. He's at left half forward. Having a very good season, Zaya Wanganeen-Millera, averaging 20 touches. Pick 11 from the 2021 draft. His kicking is a feature of his game, and he's shown why right there. Spotting up Jade Gresham inside 50. One of the shortest men on the ground, if not the shortest. But he was picked out beautifully by Wanganeen-Millera, and Gresham will kick from 45 out, pretty much directly in front.
Well, about maybe 80% of the Giants players were back in defensive 50 then. So for that kick, for Gresham to be hit up then, I mean, one, it was a beautiful kick, but the Giants defenders just switched off a little bit there.
Only 32 games in his last 3 seasons prior to this one, Jade Gresham. He's struggled with injury. He's kicked one already for the afternoon. And he's hit the post, searching for his second. So the Saints spurning a few opportunities late in this first term. They are 3-3-21, the Giants 3-1-19.
They've had all the play the last 7.5, 8 minutes, just unable to hit that scoreboard in terms of goals, which can be costly as the game goes on.
Himmelberg drives it long beyond defensive 50 to the outer wing. Coming across Wanganeen-Millera in front of the pack. Jack Sinclair there as well. Hand pass shuffles back inboard now for Hunter Clark. All the way back to Webster. Little 1-2 with Clark by hand. All the way back to Marshall at left half back. Sends it back to the wing. Big fly from Wanganeen-Millera. The drop there against Sinclair. Works all the way to Bradley Hill. Tries to escape the clutches down there at Angwood. Good desperate defence from the young Giant. Now Bedford gets there on the loose ball. Shares it with Himmelberg, and now Tom Green has some space to kick slightly infield here back at the square with Daniels.
Spun away from travel, Tom Green, and found Brent Daniels, who's been a live wire. Now Cadman, his kick is turned over and marked by Marshall, who was dropping back into the hole, the big Saints ruckman. Marked inside defensive 50. Goes short to Brad Hill, left half back. He pops it over the top for Jack Sinclair, the reigning Saints best and fairest winner. Now Philippou and Crouch. So the Saints have some run towards half forward. Crouch's kick is missed by Butler, a mark he should have taken. And now Whitfield is caught holding the ball. So Philippou, the youngster, with some good defensive work, wins it at left half forward.
65 from goal. And there's pack options inside 50, the Olympic Stadium end. Sets it high towards the hot spot now. Running start at the back from King. Row by Caminiti in the contest with Fleeton, and it goes out of bounds for a throw-in. So Caminiti couldn't quite get there in the end. And we'll throw it back in. Left full forward to the Saints. Declan Byrne on the boundary.
Yeah, as you saw, there were some early slips and big divots, but it looks like the players have adjusted. Really quick game down here. The skills are looking pretty good.
Himmelberg lost his boot in that contest. Max King was slow to get up as well. Boundary throw in. Inside attacking 50 for the Saints. King is okay. Briggs does well to work Caminiti off the football, and then they can clear through Tom Green. Defensive 50 of the Giants, and it's marked by Hogan. So now GWS can get going. Daniels with hands on the football again. He has been excellent. Looks for the run of Peatling and left half forward. Watching him all the way, though, is Stocker, who beats him to the football, keeps his feet, and finds Mason Wood. His kick looking for Ross is a little bit scrappy. Whitfield comes out to meet it. It falls the way of Daniels. Chips it over the top for Canelio. He's slipped on the surface, which is causing some issues. Goes all the way back to Josh Kelly. Now Tom Green, and now the Giants can just settle because Callaghan has it at left half forward.
A rising star nom from 3 weeks ago, Finn Callaghan. He's 70 from goal. The scoreboard end. High towards the teeth of goal now. 2-on-2. Early fly from Hogan. And good control. Jesse Hogan brings it out of the heavens. He's 20 outs directly in front.
Very strong marking from behind Jesse Hogan. It's almost like he wasn't going to get there or get the reach up, but managed to pluck it in. It ended up being a go slow from the Giants. They probably had the opportunity to go quick. Canelio slip in the middle of the ground, probably slowed him up. They then had the composure to just wait a little bit longer with Callaghan. Hogan, who was initially involved in the play around the centre of the ground, was able to get back in and take a really nice strong mark. 3 goals straight against the Pies last week, Jesse Hogan. On the approach, fairly straightforward. This one flirts with the right hand at goal post, but he sneaks it in. And the Giants, after a while, have their fourth. 4-1-25, plays 3-3-21 here against St Kilda. That's approaching the half-hour mark of this opening term here on Grandstand AFL. By the way, around the grounds at the MCG, approaching time on in the third quarter. Collingwood 11-6-72, Carlton 5-8-38.
Well, apart from the first 5 minutes, the Saints have really owned this quarter. They probably just haven't made the most of their opportunities, but the ball has lived more or less in their attacking half. So the St Kilda forwards have put in a hell of a lot of work putting pressure on that ball coming out, and it's resulted in repeat entries. On that occasion, a quick kick out results in Jesse Hogan taking a mark. He wheels and goes quickly and then gets back into the Giants forward 50, and it's amazing what can happen when work rate is high. And for a player like Jesse Hogan, when he's up and about and getting his hands on the footy, scores are usually kicked.
20th goal for the year, Jesse Hogan. His first game against the Saints since 2019. Long time since he's faced them. But the siren is set to go for quarter time. And GWS, through that Hogan goal, have the lead at the first break. They are 4-1-25. St Kilda up 3-3-21.
So the goal kickers in that first quarter here at Giants Stadium. Firstly for the Giants, Toby Green, Brent Daniels, Josh Kelly, and I'm missing the most recent one as well, aren't I? It was
Jesse Hogan.
Jesse Hogan, of course. Meanwhile, for the Saints, their 3 goals were kicked by Gresham, Dan Butler, and of course Max King, who had a positive start as well in his first game in season 2023. It's the Giants by 4 points at the first change here at Giants Stadium on ABC Radio, News Radio, and ABC Sport Digital, and the ABC Listen app. This is Grandstand AFL.
This winter, get ready for 8 weeks of cricket like you have never heard before.
One of the most dramatic mornings Test cricket you'll ever see.
The World Test Championship final.
Cummins on his way. Coley is forward. Driving, caught by Green. Coley out for 4.
The Women's Ashes.
Beaumont, who struck on the pad, and Perry's appealing, and she's got another one. High fives for the Australian.
And a rivalry bigger than the game itself. The Ashes.
Goes in and bowls to Smith, who works on away. There it is. 200, and he'll take another for luck as well.
Grandstand Cricket, the Ashes.
Every ball, live and commercial free this winter with ABC Sport.
This is the Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio, Sport Digital, and the ABC Listen app.
No 50 coming here as he goes inside 50 and he finds the marking target. Nice work down there from Daniels in best position. He takes the overhead mark, 25 out, slightly left of centre. 11 goals for on the year for Brent Daniels. Curls around the angled approach and has the first goal of the game. Steele called to play on, sends it high inside, forward to 50. Strong break up there, Max King. Does well, parks himself under it and takes the mark, 20 out on a slight angle to the left. But he's on the approach here, Max King. And the Saints to hit back, and they do so now at the other end. 1 straight 6 apiece, 4.5 played here in the opening turn. Works it forward here by hand. Clever hand pass in, but to Toby Green, who can snap from the pocket and rides home the finish as well. Nice little goal assist from Brent Daniels. Still 70 out here, Max King. His first game back. Options inside 50 though. Sends it long out the back. He's got Gresham, who's unmarked. Goes back with the flight. Now snaps on goal from the top of the square and bangs it through for the Saints' second.
He was able to spot up Brad Crouch, who was a shot on goal from 48 metres, and dropping in front to take the mark is Dan Butler. Butler read it beautifully and is marked, and will kick from a very tight angle, only 5 metres out. Butler will run around on his left and snap it through for the Saints' third of the game.
High towards the teeth of goal now. 2-on-2. Early flight from Hogan. And good control. Jesse Hogan brings it out of the heavens. He's 20 out directly in front. 3 goals straight against the Pies last week, Jesse Hogan. On the approach, fairly straightforward. This one flirts with the right hand at goal post, but he sneaks it in. And the Giants, after a while, have their 4th.
The 2023 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
A seesawing opening term here at Giants Stadium, which looks every bit a showground with large divots. It's the first time the Giants have played here since April 1st. Of course, it is through that time an Easter show ring with all the usual sort of fun and frivolity of an Easter show parade ring, and as a result there are some sections of this turf which don't look too good. No real concerns so far apart from a few players slipping over, but we'll keep an eye on that as this is the final game of AFL round 10, so Doug Nicholls round. The Giants by 4 points after an opening quarter here. Our experts are Jason Saddington and Alicia Eva.
Well, Spring, it's been a pretty open, free-flowing type game through the first quarter. I think it's we saw the Giants probably got the fastest start with a couple of early goals, but for probably a 10, 12-minute period through the mid part to late part of that quarter. St Kilda had all the play and most of the play in their front half. Just couldn't quite capitalise on a number of occasions. I think Owens had a set shot from about 25 out dead in front, missed it. Gresham had a shot not too far after and missed it. And then it was the Giants late that probably had their first inside 50 entry for quite a while that Hogan took a mark and went back and kicked the goal, which kept this a pretty even sort of game, 25-21. Fascinating in terms of free-flowing, Alicia, not from a kick mark point of view, but a lot of handballs, Both teams going at a rate where their handball ratio is higher than their kick ratio. And they're probably, both teams are getting free with their hands, pretty clean, a few chains as they try to get that ball as they head inside 50. So it'll be interesting to see if that type of game sticks here, or if the pressure comes up and the tackling starts to come in a little bit more, players are a little bit closer around the contest, and perhaps we see a few more stoppages or a few more tackles as opposed to this handball, chain out type game of footy that both teams are probably getting some looks forward with.
Yeah, absolutely. It was quite manic there for a moment in between the arcs. And I think St Kilda, as we mentioned, probably managed to weather the storm a little bit more. The handball chains eventuated into marks inside 50. The Giants weren't able to do so after that 5-minute mark of the first quarter. So they actually went back to, well, it seemed a little bit, that surge kick was almost allowed, and then Jesse Hogan got his hands on it, and then they got it going again, but it was once they were out of D50. So I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Kingsley he certainly wants to encourage this running handball game, but time and place on the ground, sense the game, sense the moment, and if you need to find a mark, find one so you can settle.
Garby, a few numbers to quarter time.
Lachie Whitfield, 11 disposals. He's been leading the charge in that sense for the Giants, Alicia. 9 handballs. Tom Green, 10. Finn Callaghan, 9 disposals. And for the Saints, Sinclair has 9. Hill and Crouch with 7. Brent Daniels, 4 score involvements, 9 possessions and a goal.
Second term underway. First hands to Perryman clears the area here for the Giants. They win the first clearance of the second quarter. It bounced inside forward 50. Out to meet the football, Riccardi. Some support to O'Halloran. Hand pass was too hot down there for Hogan. Loose ball gathered here by Halloran. Underground hand pass comes out here to Finn Callaghan. Pressure comes here from the Saints and Philippou. Off half back now for St Kilda. They'll clear through Wanganeen Millerer, and he can look to a contest on the outer side. It skids out away from Himmelberg. The Giants throw through Buckley, back to Himmelberg, shapes the kick, fires off the hand pass instead. Tom Green was pressured that time by Philippou again, and the Saints work it forward of halfway. Strong grab back with the flight, Max King.
Giants did well to hold Max King up while Saints were flooding into attacking 50. And there's a discussion between the boundary umpire and the field umpire here as to whether this went out of bounds on the full or it was juggled over for a boundary throw-in. In fact, we will have a throw-in, I think, on the outer side.
Max King, after he took the mark, he went to go for an underground handball straight up. Handballed it almost into Connor Iden's legs. Obviously came off high off his legs, so it's out of bounds.
So a reprieve for GWS. Boundary throw-in. Briggs works Marshall under the football. Gets hands on it, does Rowan Marshall. Gets it out to half forward. Picked up by Higgins. Handball over his left shoulder. Sits up nicely for Mason Wood. He snaps it inside 50, and now King has it anyway. In a far more dangerous position. 40 metres out, slight angle to the right.
He had a terrific first quarter as well, Max King. First game in, we had the 3 score involvements, a few marks, and he started this quarter well again here. The mark just up on the wing, now inside 50 with another set shot on goal.
Max King looking for his second goal. And what is his first game of the 2023 season to put the Saints in front. He has managed to achieve that. A beautiful kick. Max King has 2. And the Saints are 4-3-27. GWS 4-1-25 down to Declan Byrne on the boundary.
Garby, you mentioned Whitfield with a ton of possessions already. He came off right before quarter time, got a fair bit of work on his right leg. He was testing it out. He went for a light jog. He started on the bench, so one to keep an eye on. And as well at quarter time, the ground staff were working overtime repairing divots. It looked like a dodgy golf course out there.
If Whitfield's no good, that'd be a huge loss for the Giants. Leading possession getter in that first quarter, 11 touches. Didn't see an incident happen, so whether he's carried that through the first quarter, it's a fair effort.
It was just before quarter time, but I did see him smiling and laughing with Adam Kingsley during the quarter time break, so I dare say he's okay.
Those divots reminiscent of some of the fairways at Hamilton Island Golf Club during the week, Garby, for yours truly.
I did see you were out there. How'd you go?
Okay, all things considered, but there were a couple of divots left out there. Sorry, Hamilton Island GC. Wonky bounce to get us back underway here, and it remains.
Sounds like we should play golf together.
Yeah, fair contest. Saints by 2 here. Ball goes up, Briggs wins it down. And again, they'll clear through green. The Giants go towards half forward at the half volley for Jesse Hogan. Wilkie will clear, sweeps the hand pass wide here for Burns, and he can send it back to the wing where Owens takes a strong contested grab with Fleetwood for company.
A couple of strong marks so far this game for Owens.
One of the Rising Star favourites, who was the nominee back in round 4. Sends it back towards 50 here for the Saints.
It's to centre half forward. Briggs is underneath it. He got hands in that contest to the football, and then some of his own roving. Then kicked it straight into Lockie Ash. Falls to Perryman though, squeezes the kick out to the wing. It'll bounce out over the interchange gates in front of Jake Riccardi. So boundary throw in.
Something that I'm just noticing here is the St Kilda mids are just getting on the outside a lot quicker than what the Giants mids are able to do so, and that's where the handball chain's starting. It's a mid that's working his way from the inside to the outside and finding himself in space. So the Giants are going to have to look at that.
Saints lead by 2 points early in the second quarter. Brent Daniels with his quick kick. Is a mark by Wanganeen Miller, has been impressive early for the Saints. Switches it though, and that was dangerous. Toby Green read it well. He's won it back, tries to get around Wilkie. Excellent tackle by Callum Wilkie, not holding the ball according to the umpire. He says the ball spilled free. Saints fans won't like that. Finn Callahan can't control it. We'll have a boundary throw in left half forward for the Giants. That was a strong tackle by Wilkie as Green was threatening to kick on goal.
Well, good save in the end from Wilkie, because Toby Green read that well to get the intercept, didn't quite hold the mark. Wilkie, fantastic tackle to make sure the Giants didn't get a shot on goal.
So Kilda by 2, back in it comes. Briggs tangled up down there with Marshall, waiting for a clearance. Neat kick from Tom Green, out in space. Cornelio runs onto it now from the pocket, curls it back into the corridor. O'Halloran in best position, takes a strong grab, 25 out directly in front.
He's found himself a bit of a home this season, Xavier O'Halloran, up forward. He's playing more of a high forward role that gets up and helps defensively, but often when the player with ball in hand lowers their eyes, or if there's a quick kick that doesn't quite come off, Xavier O'Halloran is quite often underneath it. So he's kicked quite a few goals this season off the back of pure work rate.
7 goals, 5 so far for Xavier O'Halloran. Kicked a mini bag one day in Canberra. Here he is, and makes no mistake here, made the goal umpire work. Xavier O'Halloran recovers lead here for the GWS Giants. They're 5-1-31. The Saints are 4-3-27. 6 goal in second term here on Grandstand AFL.
He's spot on there, Alicia. He's been fantastic as a half forward this year, O'Halloran. He seems to be growing in confidence week by week. I think the more impact he's having in a game of footy, the more he's believing that he's a genuine AFL footballer. I think we've seen in the past few years, he's played a number of games of football, more as that midfielder, perhaps winger. He's definitely found his little spot here as a half forward for the Giants.
Late first round draft pick for GWS, took a while to get going. Adam Kingsley's given him a lot of confidence, and he is repaying the faith. He is becoming a dangerous player forward of centre for the Giants. He's kicked them back into the lead. They are 5-1-31. St Kilda 4-3-27. We've gone 6.5 minutes in the second quarter. So the lead chopping and changing in the early stages. Rowan Marshall palms us down cleanly to Hunter Clark. Ross left it behind. He was tackled without it by Perryman. Saints have it back anyway through Sinclair, straight down the corridor, inside 50. Buckley's under it for the Giants, tries to slap it away. Picked up by the ruckman in Briggs, who has been busy. He's having an impact here in Briggs, and his kick finds Brent Daniels at centre half forward. Space inside 50 for the Giants. Hogan's underneath it with Wilkie. Did well, Wilkie, to palm it away from Hogan. Falls to Peatling, though. Wilkie was in front of Hogan. Now the Saints have lost the handle on it. There will be a free kick, though, to GWS, and it's for incorrect disposal to Mason Wood from the tackle from Stephen Cornelio, who will kick from 30 metres out, slight angle to the left.
Strong tackle, Cornelio. Very strong tackle. You mentioned Briggs. He has been very good for the Giants. He was involved in that play there to help the ball go forward. Also, at the drop of the ball across half-back, Lockie Whitfield. So it's good to see him back out in the field from a Giants perspective.
Stephen Cornelio averaging 30 disposals for the season, 7th in the competition. Chance to kick an important major here for the Giants. He has converted. Turned around to celebrate with his teammates as soon as it left the boot. GWS out to a 10-point lead. They are 6-1-37. The Saints 4-3-27.
Just looking at the number of players that got around to him after he kicked that goal, I don't think it's so much because of the goal. I think it's how he kicked that goal. Chase pressure inside forward 50. We love... Anyone who plays football loves to see defensive acts get rewarded, so I think that's why his teammates got around him then.
Around the grounds, MCG, three-quarter time there. Collingwood 11-6-72, Carlton 5-10-40. Earlier in Launceston, Hawthorn beat West Coast by 116 points. We'll pick it all apart later on in the post-game and round wrap-up, but yes, that's what's happened so far today. Here it's the Giants by 10 points. Briggs back in the ruck, opposed to Marshall. After the Cornelio Major. Marshall wins it down. Clark spins away from Tom Green. Follows up now. Daniels tackles him. Hand pass goes straight to Callaghan for the Giants. Walks his way around Clark. Sends a high ball inside forward 50 here for GWS. But a strong intercept grab is taken by Wilkie in the right back pocket. By the way, 95th consecutive game for Callum Wilkie. He hasn't missed a game since his round 1 2019 debut.
He reads the game unbelievably well. He watches the flight of the ball. It's why he's able to intercept a lot. He doesn't take his eye off the footy and where it's at. He's just a great reader of the game, great footy IQ.
And number one in the comp for intercept possessions coming into this game, and one of the favourites for the All-Australian Blazer at fullback as it stands. Yep. Long way to go, of course, but he has been brilliant for the Saints in the early part of the season as the ball goes over the boundary line at right half back for St Kilda. They are 4-3-27. The Giants are 6-1-37 with a 10-point lead here at Giants Stadium. Jack Sinclair, the handball to Hunter Clark, back to Sinclair. Gets around Kieran Briggs, kicks to half forward and finds Max King in a long lead, who has been busy in his first game for the year. Hands it off to Brad Hill. He looks for Higgins inside 50 and he's found him. Diving to his right, Jack Higgins, an excellent catch. And he will kick from 45 out straight in front.
Wasn't it a nice diving mark? I didn't think Higgins was going to get to that. I didn't even think he was close enough to have a dive at it, but he read it well and threw himself out there. Superman took it centimetre off the ground, but lovely intent to really go for that footy and take the grab, Jack Higgins.
He's having a good season. Kicked 3 goals last week against the Crows. 19 goals for the campaign. 30 his best ever haul. And he's now managed 20 for the year. Beautiful kick from Jack Higgins. And the Saints hit back again, 5-3-33. They trailed the Giants by only 4 points. They are 6-1-37, down to Declan Byrne on the boundary.
I'll keep an eye out, but Nick Haynes has just gone down into the rooms with the doctor. Not sure, didn't see an incident, didn't see him sort of grabbing anything, but we'll keep you in the loop.
That forward 50 mark resulted, it started with a boundary throw-in, and just watching Rowan Marshall go about his ruck work. I know we've spoken about Kieran Briggs and he's doing a lot around the ground, but Rowan Marshall he's putting the ball on a platter for the St Kilda mids at the moment, particularly Hunter Clark.
Movement downstairs re Cal Ward, the sub, so down to Declan very shortly. In fact, down to you, Declan Byrne, if we can right now.
Yeah, Callan Ward has taken off the sub vest. He's standing at the interchange bench about to come on, so I dare say Nick Haynes is being subbed out.
Big blow.
Yeah, and have we seen Whitfield return since?
Yep.
Yeah, he has returned. Just no touches since he came off late in the opening term. Here's Gresham, wins the clearance here for the Saints. Tumbles it inside forward 50. Fleeton drops the mark back there in defence. Pressure here on the Giants defenders down there. Butler lurking here for St Kilda. And trying to just keep it alive down there. Crouch puts a tackle on the ball carrier in Tom Green. He gets up to his feet, heads it back to the umpire. Ball up, 52 out from St Kilda's goal scoreboard end. The Giants by 4 points. Up it goes. Ross just snaps it away from the area, bouncing top of the square. Oh, Max King reads the bounce beautifully. It was so unfortunate for Jack Buckley, but Max King says thank you very much and bangs home number 3. And the Saints go back ahead again. The 4th lead change of the game. St Kilda 5-3-33. 6-3-39. The Giants are 6-1-37. We've played 13 goals second term here on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, you know you're a bona fide star of an AFL competition if you're Max King that can come in and already within one and a half quarters of footy can kick 3 goals. And even normally when you get a bounce of a ball going your way, it's because you're just in this freakish form. But this is his first game back and the ball's bouncing his way. I don't know, he's been a very good player for a while now and a really good key forward. He's kicked a lot of goals, but to step straight in and have this sort of impact, he's every time the ball goes forward, it seems to be coming through Max King, or he's obviously kicking goals. He's got 3 already.
Felt for Jack Buckley there, who, as you know, Alicia, is as honest as the day is long, and that just bounced over his head, set up perfectly for his opponent in Max King, who was happy to oblige with his 3rd goal of the game. Saints leading by 2 points. They win the clearance through Gresham. Brad Hill does well to work his opponent off the football in Ash and look for King. Wasn't the best kick. Buckley was first to it. Himmelberg's under pressure, as are the Giants. Inside defensive 50. Strong tackle on Fleeton by Caminiti. And we'll have a ball up 30 metres out directly in front from the Saints goal.
Well, the last 3 scores from St Kilda have come direct from stoppage, so the mids are winning the clearances and getting forward hard.
Saints by 2 points. Bradley Hill taps it out here into space. Fleeton can win it away, and now they'll clear through Kelly for the Giants. Good spell from behind that time from Webster on Daniels. Loose ball, they'll rebound off half back the Giants. Cornelio sends it towards left half forward now. It skids out in front of Jesse Hogan. Needs some support. Fires the hand pass back off here as O'Halloran goes inside forward 50. And it's a strong tumbling grab from Toby Green. So Toby Green controls it here, left-hand side of the park, 40 out.
And one of your players you spoke about early in the game, Alicia, Brent Daniels, involved again. A terrific handball off half-back. Terrific handball to find Cornelio in the middle. It was a good 30-metre handball on an angle. I don't know how he even saw him, but it really set up that play for the Giants to move forward and get the Toby Green hit up. Wilkie was dropping off, looking for the longer kick, but Toby Green, smart lead up to present the target.
In his 199th game, Toby Green on the approach from 40, close to the mound on the mark. It's on its way though, and it wobbles through for his 2nd. The Giants skipper brings them back in front for a 5th lead change before half-time. 7-1-43, plays 6-3-39 here with 15 gone 2nd term. Declan Byrne on the boundary.
Yeah, so Ward is on for the Giants and Nick Haynes subbed out with concussion. Didn't see an incident yet, but yeah, surprising.
So the interesting move it looks like with Haynes going off, Ward coming on as the sub. What were they going to do in terms of the defensive shuffle? James Peatling's just come on and has gone to half-back, suggesting that maybe Callum Ward's going to play more as a forward, and Peatling's more of that different type of replacement for Haynes, but looks like he might be that extra defender they need now.
He's played plenty of footy down back, James Peatling, through the VFL and through his academy days, but it's not necessarily a bad look. He's gone to Baker at the moment. That's actually a pretty good matchup. So what you won't get is the Nick Haynes aerial rebound marking stuff, but for the Giants, it's probably not a bad matchup.
So the 2 superstars back into their respective teams, having an impact. Max King with 3 goals for the Saints. Toby Green with 2 for the Giants. GWS up by 4 points. Ball in dispute in the middle of the ground. Quick kick away from Owens. Finds Philippou. The 2 youngsters combined for the Saints. And then Owens is caught. Strong pressure from the Giants. Webster is wrapped up by Ward and Cornelio. We'll have a ball up just inside the centre square here at Giants Stadium. The pressure ramping up in this one. Owens down to Crouch, quick kick away, picked up by Riccardi. Cornelio handball to Iden. They get forced back here, the Giants, but they find their way through Fleeton to half forward. It bounces just over the head of Ward. Did well to keep it in. Callan Ward, who's come on as a sub, handball backwards to Angwin. He's wrapped up by Seb Ross. So there isn't much room to move at the moment when the ball's around you.
No, but it's really enjoyable because there's a lot of hard stuff in tight, a lot of physical activity, but then the hands are also getting out and it's starting to free flow as well.
Greater Western Sydney by 4 points against St Kilda. We'll go through the 2nd term. A couple of hand passes here coming up the line to Saints. It's spilled down there on the wing by Peatling. Ball in dispute now. Socked away by Gresham. King was there. In fact, Ross gets there first for the Saints. Goes a big fend. He's brought down, though. Desperate stuff from Connor Iden. And the tackler is rewarded.
Yeah, it's a fair effort to try and take on Connor Iden, I think, in a fend-off.
A recent 50-gamer. London-born, Geelong raised. Cornelio swings it across here to the outer wing. I'll go inside forward 50 from Himmelberg. Hogan coming late. Getting in there first for the Saints was Dougal Howard. And I'll switch it across the defensive goal mouth here, St Kilda, as it's with the Tasmanian Webster.
Dougal Howard copped one there from Jesse Hogan, who came through and just a little bit sore. seems okay as Webster exits defensive 50 for the Saints. Riccardi worked his opponent in Philippou under the football, but illegally, according to the umpire.
Probably just went a bit early on the contact, I think.
Philippou to half forward. Max King tried to claim it on the second attempt. It was slapped away from him by Buckley. Saints win it back though. Bouncing ball to half forward. Idens underneath it. Strong tackle on him from Butler. Fleeton gets hands on the football. And Steele and Gresham wrap him up. So a ball up just outside 50 for the Saints, who are 6-3-39. GWS 7-1-43. Tight game here to finish the round at Giant Stadium.
Up it goes. Owens out in space. Kelly goes to it with Crouch, and Owens can't keep it alive on the junction of 50 at left half forward for St Kilda. So as Garvey mentioned, 4 points is the Giants' lead. Meanwhile, at the MCG around the grounds there, midway through this final term, and Collingwood leads Carlton by 36 points. So that game wrapping up. It'll just be us centre stage here for the final game of round 10, as you mentioned, Garvey. Back in it comes. Marshall out here, only as far as Whitfield, kept it alive. Now Perryman shoved off the kick. It was nice pressure from Philippou. Some good pressure acts in his second term. And the Saints go inside 50 where Higgins leads up and marks. 40 out, slightly right of centre.
It's a bit slow to get rid of the footy there. Perryman probably worked in St Kilda's advantage in the end, that it wasn't called holding the ball, because it allowed them to keep going quick, get the inside 50 kick, and a nice little hit up. And Jack Higgins and Gresham have probably been two smalls that are really creating some damage.
Jack Higgins already with one goal in this quarter. It's on its way. It's a beautiful set shot. The number 2. And St Kilda goes back ahead. 7-3-45 plays 7-1-43. Approaching time on second term here on Grandstand AFL via ABC Radio, News Radio, and via the ABC Listen app.
It's all of St Kilda's forwards. There are a number of them actually looking quite dangerous, aren't they, Alicia? I mean, Max King, obviously tall, has been very impactful, but I think Gresham and, of course, Higgins, who obviously has now kicked his second, they're both getting shots on goal, clearly are looking dangerous. And it's not just crumbing goals, it's hit up marking goals, shots on goal that they're getting. So probably a little test here, and probably something that Giants might look at half time is just how their defenders are holding up against these St Kilda forwards.
There just seems to be a lot of movement inside their forward 50, and because the Giants have gone with 2-3 key forwards out on the ground at any one time, St Kilda have got obviously Max King, but relatively other small forwards around, and that constant movement means the Giants defence can't get set and comfortable.
20-minute mark of the second quarter. Saints lead by 2 points. Hunter Clark wins it in the middle of the ground. Handball out to Josh Battle. His kick with his left foot is away from a teammate, and it is paid as deliberate or insufficient intent is probably the correct term.
He's running out towards the wing on his left foot, and he's kicked it 35 metres forward a snap, and it's not.
It was a harsh decision. Peatling brings it back in. Riccardi flies at it. Callan Ward just throws his leg at it, sockers it off the ground, but a good 30 metres further forward, inside 50 for GWS, and Cadman puts a tackle on Wilkie.
If that goes outside, is that deliberate?
Well, it's same style, wasn't it? It was just this, throw the leg at the ball and go 35 metres forward, go out of bounds. Lucky it didn't roll out. I would have called for it.
Kilda by 2 points, 7-3 plays 7-1. Back in it comes now, over the top, Marshall, down to Sinclair, tumbles it back to the wing. Strong grab from Caminiti, and he'll play on quickly now. Thumps it high towards half forward. Peatling back in defence. Taps it at the advantage of Higgins, and he impedes Higgins on the run. Umpire says play on. Ash gets back there as well for the Giants. Circling him down there as well is Butler. Allows it here for Peatling. Tumbles it here towards Toby Green, who can just send it beyond defensive 50, and it's out of bounds on the full.
Giants have an issue. Harry Himmelberg down. He copped one high, and with Nick Haynes already subbed out with concussion, this is a big worry for GWS.
Friendly fire too. I think Cam Fleeton ran into him.
Harry Himmelberg still on his haunches in the hands of the trainers as Battle brings it inside attacking 50. Floating across is Kieran Briggs. He has to drop back, but Haynes subbed out and Himmelberg in trouble.
50.
He's taken the mark and he's been rewarded with a 50-metre penalty, Kieran Briggs as well. Himmelberg still hasn't moved. This is not looking good.
Nope.
Finally to his feet and being escorted off the ground by the trainers. So worries here for GWS from a personnel point of view. We'll get down to Declan Byrne on the boundary in a moment, as Angwin has it on the outer side. His kick is smothered by Dougal Howard. There's a chance to win it back, Ryan Angwin. Well done by Howard, though. Excellent defensive work. Boundary throw in outer side, down to Declan Byrne on the boundary.
Yeah, Himmelberg's come off in the hands of the physio, a bit of blood coming from his mouth, so I reckon he'll be getting HIA pretty soon.
23 gone, second term. Kilda by 2 points here.
That'd be very interesting. Himmelberg's been playing back. If you've lost Haynes, now Himmelberg, there will be quite the reshuffle.
Briggs displaced Marshall in the right contest, so it's a free kick going St Kilda's way.
And normally with any head contact, if you stay down on your haunches for a while, now he's bleeding from the mouth, so maybe it is a different story, but normally it's pretty conservative these days.
Let's not forget, Sam Taylor already out for the Giants, as we know.
Webster on the outer side here for the Saints. It's a hot pocket of players just inside 50 here. St Kilda and GWS. King goes up, couldn't control it. Wide hand pass comes to Brad Crouch, just throws it on the boot. It goes high towards the pocket. Gresham down there, fumbles it alongside the right behind post and out of bounds for a throw-in. So a stoppage inside 50 coming up here for the visitors. It's they who lead 7-3-45, plays 7-1-43, and one of their players is down as well, St Kilda.
Is it Owen?
It may.
Is it Owen?
It may even be
Owens. So in that you called it, there was a big pack. It is Owens. Big pack marking contest as the ball went inside 50. The St Kilda player, I think Owens got a little shove forward, but then another one of his players has jumped in from the side, and Owens has copped a knee into the head, and I think that's what's obviously caused the injury. He went straight down. He's barely moved.
Well,
Owens, he's face first.
Yeah, this is a worry, and there's a lengthy delay, so much so that both teams have actually split to form huddles and try and regroup here.
Yeah, calling for the stretcher now.
So Mitch Owen's game is, you dare say, over. Nick Haynes already subbed out. Harry Himmelberg being assessed as we speak, and that's all occurred in the matter of 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure both from friendly fire, teammates causing the contact. I mean, like the Haynes and potential Himmelberg causes a bit of a reshuffle for the Giants. This one will for the Saints too, because Owens has been the ruck backup. He's been second ruck for the Saints. So this will cause a rethink for them as well as to strategy.
Declan Byrne downstairs.
As you'd expect with the stretcher out, Mitch Owens concussed. Ben Patton has already been taken off his shirt, so the sub has been made for St Kilda.
Okay, thanks, Declan. Both first half subs for the respective sides.
A real shame for Owens. I thought he had a terrific game so far. He was marking the ball strongly, as I mentioned. He's obviously providing that pinch hit through the ruck for the Saints. Was quite good in there too. You know, when he was matched up against Riccardi, I think he was a bit more dominant than Riccardi as the backup ruck. Like I said, marking the ball strongly as well. So it's a real shame for him, a young player having a terrific season, to cop this head knock.
It's not a good sight at the moment. There are a number of physios around Mitch Owens, and he's still lying on his back. So this would be worrisome for St Kilda and for everyone in the AFL at the moment. It's Mitch Owens' situation, and our thoughts are with him right now. It's not a good look here at Giants Stadium. The game being delayed by several minutes. Let's go back down to Declan Byrne on the boundary.
Just on Harry Himmelberg, the GWS physio who was looking at that footage, which usually results in an HIA, he's gone out onto the field. So it looks like Himmelberg might have just been a jaw issue. They were testing out and touching his jaw. So it doesn't look like he'll have to get the concussion test, and he's just sitting on the bench.
Okay, thanks, Declan. But as you mentioned, Garby, all the concern here for Mitch Owens, who's being lifted up on the stretcher now on the Medicab. Got the neck brace on, as is customary in these situations. Stabilise his spine, make sure he's okay, but it's always a concerning bit of vision when you see this happen.
And you can see his St Kilda teammates just hovering around, and they'll get over to him in a moment, but good to see both sides checking to see that he's all right.
Yeah, it's a sinking feeling. And you just hope that everything's okay, but it is the worst possible sight on the football field, the player in that sort of situation. Saints players now get around the stretcher and give Mitch Owens some support, and judging by their reactions, I think they feel as if the situation is stable. That's all we can hope for at the moment.
Approaching time 1 at the MCG. Around the grounds there, Collingwood 12-7-79 to Carlton 6-14-50. So that game wrapping up shortly. The Pies looking for, 6 straight wins now with that result. Earlier, Hawthorn beat West Coast by 116. It's 2 points the margin here. St Kilda over GWS, but they've lost another man here in Mitch Owens, who's still on the Medicab as it's about to drive off the Giant Stadium surface. And Ben Patton, the sub, has been made for the visitors.
It leaves through an interesting, probably 5-6 minute little period here to finish off the quarter. Quite often what can happen when you have this little hold up in proceedings is one team can come out and maybe grab an advantage for a quick few minutes before you go into a break. So interesting to see, can the Saints or the Giants capitalise on this little lull and come out, maybe get an advantage while the other team's potentially still asleep or haven't quite jumped back into the action after that longish delay.
Yeah, it's a slow drive off Giant Stadium, as is all part of the precaution. Declan, back down to you.
The physios were really busy for a few minutes beforehand as well with Toby Green, his sort of left pec and shoulder, so keep an eye on that. Jack Higgins came off and got his finger treated too, so it's been 10 minutes that have seen a lot of carnage.
We thought there might be an issue because of the surface. These are not surface-related injuries. They're upper body or head knocks, but as you say, plenty of carnage in this first half so far, and there's still a few moments left before half-time.
Stretcher finally makes its way off the ground. A round of applause from the Giants fans for Mitch Owens. St Kilda doctor Brett Frankel with him, keeping him company as the boundary throw-in back inside, attacking 50 for the Saints is taken place eventually. Josh Kelly clears defensive 50 for the Giants. Everyone just remembering for a moment there's a football game to be played. Rowan Marshall wrapped up, picked up by Cornelio. Steele went into his back. We'll have a boundary throw in at half forward for St Kilda. The Saints are 7-3-45, GWS 7-1-43. Everyone trying to get their concentration back on the game after that sickening incident that has seen Mitch Owens stretch it off.
The lead has changed 6 times, meanwhile, as Perryman hand pass off here to O'Halloran. Can clear the area now for the Giants. It's along the outer side, at the drop. Hogan couldn't control it first time. Spins away from Sinclair, works it back behind to O'Halloran, tumbles it inside forward 50. Set a task down there for Daniels. And now Lennon Miller can steer it across the defensive goal mouth now. It's a little testy here for Stocker, and it goes out of bounds for a throw-in. Good pressure it was out there from the sub, Cal Ward.
Toby Green's not right. He couldn't go at that mark with both hands, and he reached for his shoulder straight after he dropped the mark. So that is another big issue for GWS. Boundary throw-in inside 50 for the Giants. Riccardi palms it down for Ward. He's wrapped up. Try to get the ball free, but the umpire had blown his whistle just before he did that, Cal Ward. So ball up, inside 50 for the Giants. Time ticking down in the second quarter. Saints leading by 2 points. Here is Perryman finding some space and snapping on goal, but only through for a behind. So 1 point in the margin. The Saints are 7-3-45. GWS 7-1-43, 7-2-44 they are now.
We'll tick past the half-hour mark of this second term, but we'll have a long quarter because of that delay and the Mitch Owens injury. And the Saints work it beyond offensive 50. Steele off to Sinclair. High ball along the outer wing. That's a 2-on-2. There was a hold in there as well on Bradley Hill. It will be a free kick going St Kilda's way.
It's an interesting one, this Toby Green potential injury, because if it is a shoulder concern, you'd think they'd get him off pretty quickly, assess it and tape it up. So we'll, unless they have taped it up, Declan, I don't think they have. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, he's still out there for the time being, the Giants skipper. Butler will take the kick as Hill went forward. Butler sends it high toward the pocket. Through the fingertips down there of King. Circling for it, Philippou. The Giants have numbers in defence, and it's run out of bounds for a throw-in. 25 around from the Saints' goal scoreboard. And their lead is 1 point. Declan Byrne on the boundary.
Yeah, they didn't strap it up, which was interesting because they had him for 5 minutes and they were pushing and prodding around the collarbone, which made me think it wasn't shoulder. Obviously not a doctor, so I don't want to guess, but yeah, it's interesting.
Boundary throw-in inside 50 for the Saints. Picked up by Crouch, looking for Clark. O'Halloran gets hands onto it cleanly though and clears the danger for GWS. Up to the wing. Hogan does well to gather it after the contest. Battle wins it back for St Kilda. And Gresham is wrapped up by Lockie Ash. Falls the way of Tom Green. His kick is affected, but marked by Toby Green. I think it was touched. It was, and therefore the mark is not paid. But that was better from Toby in terms of working that shoulder over, so perhaps he's just starting to adjust to the injury.
Saints by a point, ball in the air on the outer wing. Worked away down there by Crouch. It's a desperate situation now for both sides. Daniels tries to clear for the Giants. Support now from Bedford. Turns away from Jack Sinclair, goes inside forward 50, and there's a strong grab taken by Green. He can turn Webster inside out. Still can't release the ball though by foot. They pile on top of him. Daniels there as well, but the Saints have numbers in defence. Worked away here as far as bringing in Miller, who can rebound off the half-back line here for the Saints. He finds Wilkie by hand. Couple of opportunities to bounce here for St Kilda.
He's got nothing ahead of the ball.
May even be Seb Ross, who's got the footy, and now he spots up the marking target there in Butler.
Show good patience to find Butler the kick into the middle of the ground. That was a dangerous one. Eventually Marshall gets it despite the spoil from Briggs. Bounces away from Caminiti and sits up for Iden. The 1-2 with O'Halloran. Iden up to the wing now. Kicks to half forward. He's got Green in space. That's Toby, and he's marked left half forward. Plays on quickly, and he's got a teammate free in Jesse Hogan, who's marked in the left forward pocket. Thought about going and then thought better of it. He'll now go all the way back and have a set shot from 45 metres out, but on a very slight angle to the left.
Riccardi was all the way back there, wasn't he?
It's amazing. We mentioned Toby Green might be struggling. I think in the next 3 minutes he's been involved in 10 passages of play.
Well, he played in the Sydney Derby with a bung ankle and won the game for the GWS as Jesse Hogan has his shot on goal. And he snuck it through just for a behind.
I was in the crowd then. I thought
sold me down the river there, Alicia. I thought it was a behind, but then just for a moment it might have.
I reckon the goal umpire played it up a little bit too.
Perhaps 7-3-45 apiece. We get close to half time.
That's the trick. Always watch the goal umpire. It's usually the right option, but you never know sometimes. Oh, wide kick now from Webster. Was it kept alive? Yes, on the boundary line by Burns of the Saints. Now comes back in field for Stocker.
So with Owens going off, you can see now that St Kilda's ball movement has been affected slightly. They're just one tall down ahead of the ball, so they've just got to be patient.
Through the corridor now, Wayne Miller finds Hunter Clark. Spreads it wide now towards the outer flank. Bradley Hill receives it on the bounce. Spears the pass inside 50. Dropped by Max King. Around the football again. Higgins shuffles out the hand pass. A little too hot for Max King. Iden can gather here for the Giants. Handball goes straight to Higgins with the outside of the boot on the run. It's across the face and marked down there by Finn Callahan for GWS. It scores level 7-3-45 apiece. 35 gone second term here at Giants Stadium.
Like a true wingman should, Alicia, getting back to help out defensive 50, take a grab.
Did well there, Finn Callahan. His kick exits defensive 50. Riccardi with the leap, punched away from him by Webster. So the Saints can put the Giants under pressure again. Marshall snaps it to centre half forward. Well done, Cam Fleeton. The youngster in his second game. Strong at the front of that contest and marking. They need him to stand up now with Haynes subbed out and Himmelberg potentially out for the game as well. Callahan has it at centre half back, goes straight down the middle of Giants Stadium and finds Jesse Hogan at centre half forward. He's got a man free in the pocket. That's Toby Bedford. Well done Sinclair to effect it. Falls away of Toby Green though. Bedford trying to gather it just in front of goal. Gets to his feet now. Has he won a free kick? Yes, he has for high contact. So Toby Bedford can snap from the left forward pocket and put the Giants a goal clear if he can convert from the free kick.
Did he cleverly draw that, Jason?
Well, it should have been a goal in the first instance. Yes. A little fumble, and normally when you fumble, you normally get the negative result, but he was lucky enough to get some high contact there as he was trying to retrieve the ball again. He's had a quiet night so far, Bedford. He's been very good for the Giants since he's come into the team. His speed's outstanding. I think there's only 6 touch.
But he's kicked his second goal as a Giant, runs around, snaps it on his right, and GWS have a 1-goal lead. They are 8-3-51, St Kilda 7-3-45, and we are not far away from the halftime siren.
Just watching the replay there. So he does fumble the footy. He doesn't go looking for the contact, but well.
No, it was a little bit clumsy from
Seb Ross.
Seb Ross, yeah. He just ran straight into Bedford. He tried to sort of jump out of the way, but his knees just collected Bedford in the head. It was quite funny. Toby Bedford, he got the free kick and he punched the ground, and then he was filthy at himself for fumbling the ball in the first instance, but made amends with a lovely right foot snap.
The Giants by a goal as we approach half time. 8-3 plays 7-3. 37.5 play due to that delay for the Mitch Owens head knock. He's been subbed out. This is obvious. He was taken off on the Medicab. Waiting for a clearance here. On the guts, Cornelio, dispossessed by Jack Steele. Turns a kick inside 50. It was dropped by King again. Bursting by Butler. Dummies the hand pass. Well, the outside of the boot. On the run, Dan Butler curls it around the post. And that's his second. So the Saints hit right back and scores a level again. 8-3, 51 apiece. 38 go on second term here on ABC Sport. This is Grandstand AFL.
Again, centre clearance it's come down to then. And Rowan Marshall, he's certainly playing his role in there. Another St Kilda clearance straight out the front door. Max King probably, he dropped a mark he probably should have taken, but Baker, the poise, the front and centre, that's forward craft getting to that spot and finished really nicely.
Just another one of the Saints' smaller forwards.
Butler.
Obviously, Butler having some impact. He's got a couple now too. So, we're talking about Higgins and Gresham getting shots on goal. Butler as well now.
Yeah, Mac King with 3 for the Saints. Higgins and Butler, the 2 small men at his feet with 2 apiece. 8-3, 51 apiece at Giants Stadium. It feels like it's going to stay that way until the end. Stick with us for a thriller on ABC Grandstand. We get close to half-time. And either team sees the advantage before the main break. The ball is squeezed out from the centre bounce, picked up by Cornelio. He kicks quickly inside 50. Toby Green, it bounced away from him. Under pressure there is Butler, smothered by Toby Green inside 50 for the Giants. A handball from Ward, look for Hogan. They're under pressure, St Kilda deep in defence. Gresham gets hands to it, has support in the form of Stocker. And now Steele at left half back, kicks it up to the wing. Underneath it for the Giants is Lockie Ash, and he fists it over the boundary line. And we will have a boundary throw in next to the interchange gates where there's been a lot of movement. Nick Haynes subbed out for the Giants. Himmelberg, we're not sure if he can continue. And Mitch Owens subbed out for the Saints. Ben Patton on for him.
Yeah, we haven't seen Himmelberg back out there, have we?
Back in it comes. Dying seconds, second quarter. Sock it away, back to Briggs. Lays a follow-up tackle on Crouch. Ball jailed free here. Green to Whitfield. He just squeezes the kick up the line. But that will be it through an enthralling first half of footy here at Homebush. 8-3, 51 apiece. Greater Western Sydney and St Kilda in the final game of round 10. The goal kickers in this game so far. I'll do my best on the run here. Max King has 3 for the Saints. A couple each to Dan Butler, Jack Higgins and Jade Gresham.
That's one.
Meanwhile, that's 8, isn't it? Yep. For the Giants, it's a couple to Toby Green, despite some discomfort with his upper part of his body. Singles to Cornelio, Bedford, Daniels, Kelly, Hogan and Xavier O'Halloran. Halftime here at Giants Stadium. Our experts are Jason Saddington and Alicia Eva.
Well, I think Garby called it late in that quarter there. I think we're set up for a fantastic game of football. It's been a really good first half. It's been a bit of to and fro. Both teams have had opportunities to hit the scoreboard. We saw the Saints really start to get on top. Alicia, you like some of their clearance work. But the Giants just managed to keep kicking goals as the quarter keeps rolling through. It's been fantastic. I think we've seen a lot of handball, a lot of chain football. I think for the Saints, their forward line's causing some troubles for the Giants. We've seen Max King as the tall has had some real impact with his 3 goals in his first game back, which is a fantastic return for him into the game. But even their smalls, 2 goals each to Higgins and Butler also hitting the scoreboard as well as Gresham. That's been fantastic for the Saints when they're getting the ball in there. They're looking pretty dangerous. But for the Giants, I think they're looking dangerous too. Toby Green, we're worried about the injury potentially with his shoulder, but ever since we've called that, he's had fantastic impact through that second half. It's really poised for a fantastic second half of football here. I really like the game. I really like the way it's been played between both teams, and I can't wait for this second half to get underway.
Yeah, apologies to Dan Butler. I keep calling him Baker. Showing I've had a long day. I think Baker retired a few years ago. But no, Sato, I think absolutely hit the nail on the head with that assessment. The score involvement is one of my favourite stats that I like looking at. And for the Giants, it's Steve Cornelio, it's Xavier O'Halloran, it's Tom Green, it's some of these guys in the midfield that are not necessarily hitting the scoreboard, but they're starting off the chain of play that's leading to a score. For Saints, it's their small forward, so the ball's getting in there, and it might be a stoppage, it might be a repeat entry, but it's their small forwards that are looking really dangerous, particularly in that second quarter. So if they're not kicking it, they're setting them up. Good first half battle. We've gone in, 8 goals, 3 apiece. So, wow, it's a good battle on our hands here.
Yep. And probably the big thing to come out of that half as well, and we saw it in the latter part of that quarter, just some injuries to both teams. Obviously Owens for the Saints is a big loss. He was playing his role really well for them. And for the Giants, we saw Nick Haynes go off with that injury, and then Himmelberg copped a head knock as well. We haven't seen him come back out in the field, so how that's going to play out for the Giants. Higgins, I think, has been off to get checked. Injuries might play a big part in this second half as well.
Yeah, Declan Byrne busy downstairs keeping us across all of it. We'll get to the halftime numbers after ABC News. Just quickly, it's just gone full-time at the MCG. Collingwood 13-7-85 has beaten Carlton 7-15-57. So they had more scoring shots, the Blues. Couldn't put them away. And lost by 5 goals anyway. So that's Collingwood's 6th straight win with North to play next week.
And the pressure will ramp up on Michael Voss. The same for Adam Simpson, of course, at the Eels at the moment for obvious reasons. But, yeah, you know what they're like at Carlton. When the coach isn't going well, the media just jumps all over that. So that's going to be another big talking point this week, Michael Voss and his future at Carlton.
What's that, 3 straight losses? And they're coming here.
Against 3 good teams, though. But still, they're a team that has to make the 8th year, and it's not looking good at the moment.
They've got the Swans on Friday to start the round 11 festivities, the Marngrook game at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Halftime here at Giant Stadium. More from our experts and more from Garby, Declan Byrne and myself, Brett Sprigg, coming up next. But right now at 8:51 apiece, time for us to get to the ABC newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has told the G7 leaders meeting in Japan that Kyiv's plan to end Russia's war against his country is an obvious expression of rationality. Mr Zelensky, who's attending the summit in Hiroshima in person, has in recent months been seeking global support for a peaceful formula. Meantime, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has joined a meeting with Mr Zelensky at the G7 summit in Japan. North Asia correspondent James Oaten has the latest.
Volodymyr Zelensky is a surprise star attraction at this year's G7 after flying in yesterday on board a French government plane. After meeting with NATO allies and the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the Ukrainian president joined 2 sessions with other attendees. One discussed the specifics of the war in Ukraine, while another, that Anthony Albanese attended, was more broad in its scope, entitled Towards a Peaceful, Stable and Prosperous World. The G7 wraps up today. James Oaten, ABC News, Hiroshima.
The New South Wales government says it will commit to expanding the Shared Equity program to support domestic violence victim survivors. The program will help victim survivors retain a home currently co-owned with an ex-partner, move homes or re-enter home ownership. State Treasurer Daniel Mookie says providing safer housing and greater financial security can support domestic violence victim survivors and help them achieve better long-term outcomes.
The government expects to be making decisions around the finer details of this program through the budget process. We want to see victim survivors in housing as soon as possible.
A Tasmanian political analyst says the AFL stadium in the state might struggle to make it through the parliament unless it has Labor's support. Premier Jeremy Rockcliffe announced yesterday that as part of an agreement with the 2 new independents, the stadium will now be assessed as a project of state significance. It means the deal will be scrutinised by both houses of Parliament. Labor is against the stadium but wants an AFL team. The AFL says the two cannot be separated. Analyst Kevin Bonham says it's in the upper house where Labor's support, or lack thereof, is key.
If they don't, then the numbers could become quite difficult, needing 4 out of 6 independents to pass, at least a couple of whom I expect will probably be against it.
South Australians working in the state's homelessness services sector will be provided with more job security after a recent state government investment. $115 million will be provided to 5 homelessness alliances to ensure workers can continue on with an extra 2 years of contract security. Support services say it comes at a time where there's been a sharp increase in demand during the current cost of living and housing crises. Minister for Human Services, Nat Cook, says without job security, support workers are often lost to other job sectors.
We need to not lose more than we can afford to lose who are providing for those continuity of care and support relationships.
The Western Australian government has moved to expand a ban on shark fishing at metropolitan beaches. Fisheries Minister Don Punch says he doesn't view shore-based fishing for large sharks at popular beaches to be compatible with community expectations of responsible recreational fishing. In 2022, the state government introduced new laws to stop recreational shark fishing from Port Beach to South Cottesloe. Mr Punch says he's written to local governments to discuss options to expand the ban to other beaches and the Swan River. Police say they're confident they'll catch the driver who allegedly left a pedestrian with life-threatening injuries in a hit-and-run in Melbourne's southeast last night. Witnesses rushed to help the 34-year-old Springvale woman after she was hit by a van while crossing the road in Noble Park around 7 o'clock. Detective Sergeant Stephen Hill says it's shocking that someone would flee the scene after hitting a person.
This lady is someone's daughter, someone's partner, and she's been left lying and dying on the side of the road. I'd call on the driver of the white van to hand himself in to the nearest police station because we will catch you.
And police in El Salvador say at least 9 people have been killed and dozens more injured in a stampede at a soccer match. The incident occurred when stampeding fans pushed through an access gate at a league quarter-final being played near the capital San Salvador. Police have confirmed 7 of the dead are men and 2 are women. More than 100 people have been taken to hospital, some in critical condition. This is ABC News.
Hello, I'm Patrick Stack, and if you like great stories and you enjoy sport, then I reckon you need ABC Sport Daily in your life.
We didn't have all the spinning plates spinning at the right time and connecting together.
It's a passionate and emotional response in which you become accustomed to when it comes to Alistair Clarkson.
A lot of people are sort of glad to see Jason Day back in the winner's circle.
We have actually run out of ways to describe how great she is.
It's your daily sports conversation and it's called ABC Sport Daily. Find us on the ABC Listen app.
This is the Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Handball over his left shoulder, sits up nicely for Mason Wood. He snaps it inside 50 and now King has it anyway. In a far more dangerous position. 40 metres out, slight angle to the right. Max King looking for his second goal. What is his first game of the 2023 season to put the Saints in front. He has managed to achieve that. A beautiful kick. Max King has 2. Now the Saints have lost the handle on it. There will be a free kick though to GWS, and it's for incorrect disposal to Mason Wood from the tackle from Stephen Cornelio, who will kick from 30 metres out, slight angle to the left. Chance to kick an important major here for the Giants. He has converted.
Yeah, so Ward is on for the Giants and Nick Haynes subbed out with concussion. Didn't see an incident yet, but yeah, surprising.
It goes, Ross just snapped it away from the area, bouncing top of the square. Oh, Max King reads the bounce beautifully. It was so unfortunate for Jack Buckley, but Max King says thank you very much and bangs home number 3.
St Kilda player, I think Owen's got a little shove forward, but then another one of his players has jumped in from the side and Owen's just got the knee into the head, and I think that's what's caused the injury. He went straight down, he hasn't barely moved.
Jack Steele turns a kick inside 50, was dropped by King again, bursting by Butler, dummies the hand pass, with the outside of the boot, on the run, Dan Butler curls it around the post. And that's his second. So the Saints hit right back and scores a level again.
The 2023 Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
On ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Scores level, and we start again at half-time here at Giants Stadium, 8-3-51. Greater Western Sydney, the Giants lead St Kilda here in the final game of round 10, the first week of Sir Doug Nicholls Round. Just to bring you across what happened earlier at Launceston, Hawthorn beat West Coast 22-10, 142 to 4-26, which Lewis kicked 6. James Sicily had 30 disposals. Dom Sheed had 30 as well for West Coast in what was a game, highlights few and far between, Garby. And that sort of begs the question as far as Daniel Garb alongside me. the lowest point the West Coast have had in, 35 plus years.
Yeah.
I can't recall a similar point from a football point of view that have been this low.
Yeah, we were discussing this before we came on air this afternoon. I mean, 1989, the club was in a disastrous state, and there was talk about the team folding at one point, but that was the infancy of the West Coast Eagles, and so you perhaps don't look at it in the same light. They're now a financial powerhouse, of course, but on field, it's as bad as it's ever been. I mean, there was a period after Mick Malthouse left and Ken Judge was coach where they were really uncompetitive, but that didn't last for very long. This has gone on for a couple of seasons now, and to lose to a team that is in a complete rebuild, that has stripped everything back by that margin today, although the injuries are incredibly severe. I mean, there's probably 6 or 7 players in their best 22 out there at the moment. It is just rock bottom for that very proud football club. And, questions will be asked about the future of Adam Simpson this week.
They're 20 goals worse than the next worst club, Sato, effectively.
Yeah, well, I don't think we've seen a team that's consistently this uncompetitive since perhaps the early years of the Giants.
And we know why. We know it's not
There's
like
injuries.
they've got their full team on the park,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it all comes back to, I guess, the overall management of that list.
It's a horrible period for them. Horrible period.
Also at the MCG, it's just finished up a short time ago. Collingwood beats Carlton 13-785 to 7-15-57. So 2 more scoring shots for the Blues to only lose by 28 points. That's 6 straight wins now for the Pies. They've got North Melbourne next week. 3 straight losses for Michael Voss's men. Brody Mychek kicked 4. Charlie Curnow did kick 3 goals too, and as far as possession getters, they had plenty of ball, Carlton. Doherty 34, Chera 33, Walsh 29, but beaten, outclassed by the Pies, as many teams have been in this season so far. Earlier here in the VFL, GWS beat Sandringham 12-15-87 to 9-6-60. 27 points was the margin there. And across some of the other codes in the National Rugby League, full-time scores. In fact, it's just gone full-time in Canberra, where the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles have beaten Canberra 42 points to 14. And earlier, just across the road here at Stadium Australia, Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs beat the Gold Coast Titans 20 points to 18. The 2 Sunday full-time results in the NRL, of course, Origin period coming up, and there's a shortened round of fixtures next week into Origin Game 1 in Adelaide Wednesday week. So lots to look forward to if you love your rugby league or even just a casual observer of that showpiece event, State of Origin. As far as Super Netball is concerned, 2 results today at Ken Rosewall Arena, also as part of our Homebush precinct. The New South Wales Swifts beat the Collingwood Magpies 85-56, while over in Perth, the West Coast Fever at 97 beat the Firebirds 63. Those are the full-time results in Super Netball today. Couple of numbers as they sit at the half, if we can, Daniel Garb.
So Tom Green has 17 disposals, 10 of them contested for GWS, 6 clearances, 5 score involvements. His brilliant season continues, Tom Green. Lockie Whitfield, 16 possessions. Canelio, 16, 9 in the second quarter, as Alicia Eva said. He's got a goal as well. Brent Daniels has been arguably the best for the Giants, though. 14 touches, but 5 score involvements, a goal, a couple of clearances. Whenever he's got hands on the football, something has happened for GWS. Jack Sinclair, continuing his excellent form from last season, where he won the best and fairest for the Saints, has 17 disposals. Jade Gresham has 12, along with 4 score involvements. Wanganeen Miller with 12 touches, and Jack Steele, the former Giant, 12 as well, and 4 score involvements. 9 tackles for Harry Perryman. So he's doing a lot of the dirty work for GWS. And Matthias Philippou, so a top 10 draft pick. He has 6 tackles. One thing I've noticed with young players coming into the competition at the moment, they are getting really into the clinches early in their career. You look at Ruben Jinby as, I think, top 5 in the comp for tackles at the Eagles. Philippou has 6 tackles in the first half. They're coming ready-made for the physical stuff, aren't they now?
Absolutely they are. They step in highly competitive sort of players, and I think that's the strength of the talent programs built underneath. They're playing high-level football week in, week out against some quality young players as well. I mean, you think, some of the, when they play national championships, Philippou's potentially playing against, Ashcroft last year. They're getting high-end competition week in, week out. So when they step in, they get their first pre-season under their belts, they can have a real crack.
And not only that, there's gone are the days where you have a stay-at-home full forward that, you know, primarily his or her job is to just take marks in the square and kick goals. Now it's full team defence. It's not just the backs defend and the mids chase. It's full team defence. So when these young players are developing through the pathways, yes, they've got to work on their forward craft, but defensive pressure, tackle technique, everything is drummed into them from a really young age because it's now part of the complete game that these players are required to play.
The teams are out there warming up. Send your text, by the way, 0437 774 774 from wherever you're joining us right across this great land and beyond. The final game of AFL Round 10, Sir Doug Nicholls round here at Giants Stadium. 0437 774 774, and don't forget to add your name.
I cannot see Harry Himmelberg out there warming up for the Giants, so it looks like they will be down a rotation because they've already lost Nick Haynes, who has been subbed out. Let's go down to Declan Byrne on the boundary.
In a sec, we'll get Declan when we have the junction coming up in 20 seconds. We've got the second half not too far away, and Declan can recap the situation here because it's been carnage injury-wise for both of these sides. There's a few thousand on the other side, probably a total of sort of 6,000 or 7,000 here this evening, as we're now under the bright artificial light and the dark night sky overhead here out in Western Sydney. Welcome to Giants Stadium. This is the final game of Round 10, the GWS Giants and St Kilda. And you've missed an enthralling opening half if you have just joined us via ABC Radio across the nation. But the good news is we're all locked up, 8-3-51 apiece with 2 quarters of football to go here at Giants Stadium. And carnage downstairs, Declan Byrne, for both sides.
It has been a brutal game. So both subs have been made thanks to concussions. Nick Haynes was the first for the Giants, and then we had a sickening clash, some friendly fire for the young Saint Mitch Owens. The good news is, although he was stretchered off, there was a big break in play. He has just come out from the rooms. He's sitting on the bench, looks in fairly solid spirits. So really good signs to see him up, because it really was one of those blows that silences the whole crowd. Himmelberg, just before that, copped a head knock. He came off. And since the halftime break, as he said, Garby hasn't come out, isn't on the ground. Giants potentially down one there. Also, Toby Green, their captain, was getting attention on his shoulder, pec, collarbone area. Seemed to play through the pain. We'll keep an eye on that one too. He's busy.
Still an hour left here. Thank you, Declan. Yeah, alongside Brett Sprigg, Daniel Garb, Jason Saddington and Alicia Eva here on Grandstand AFL. The second half not too far away. After earlier, Hawthorn beat West Coast by 116. Collingwood by 28 over Carlton in that MCG blockbuster. Scores level here in the final game of Round 10, the first week of Sir Doug Nicholls rounds. Began the game in the afternoon here on Wongal and Barramadigal land, which is the land which covers the lands and waterways across the Parramatta River in inner Western Sydney. Second half about to get underway. Here's Daniel Garb on Grandstand AFL.
A thriller looms to conclude Round 10 and Sir Doug Nicholls round. The Giants and the Saints level at 51 apiece as the third quarter commences. Kieran Briggs palms it down to Josh Kelly. Rowan Marshall puts his head over the football. Sits up now for the Saints, and Ben Patton, the sub, kicks them inside 50. Back there is Peatling. He's now been shifted into defence amid the injuries for the Giants. Lockie Ash will exit defensive 50 with a kick for GWS. It's punched away from O'Halloran by Webster. All in dispute on the wing. Dougal Howard comes out to meet her for the Saints. Gets around a couple of tackles and then a third. Snaps and Kilda inside 50. King works Buckley under the football. Finds some space. Kick on goal though. He did not connect with it cleanly. And Finn Callahan does well to get hands on the football. Could have rushed the behind, decided not to, and now Lockie Ash will kick clear.
Could have had 4 goals, Max King, to just about half-time or just after. Saints here off a half forward, lose the football, tumbled away here by Keneally of the Giants, only as far as Sinclair for St Kilda. Swings it wide back to the members' wing where it's marked by Ryan Burns. Short chip pass to Bradley Hill, slips over here on that western wing, under pressure from Peatling, and now Burns kicks smothered by Ang when it goes out of bounds, in fact on the full. What a deflection off the young Giant. Part of the story was also the playing surface here. It's the first game since April 1st they played here at Giants Stadium, which is during Easter time the Easter show ring. So there's pockets of this ground which is showing plenty of wear and plenty of divots being left behind as well in that first half. Connor Iden wins a free kick here for the Giants, and no change to our halftime score, 8-3-51 apiece.
Well, it didn't seem to affect Dougal Howard a few moments earlier. He was dancing and selling candy. Great to watch.
Iden's kick up to the wing off the hands of Briggs. Now Dougal Howard again. Quick kick into attack for the Saints. Well done by Caminiti to try and control that and then win the ball back himself. Handball to Gresham. Snaps it into a dangerous area. It's punched away from Higgins by Lockie Ash. Boundary throw in for the Saints inside their attacking 50. So they've started the third term the better. 8-3-51 apiece though.
By the way, 7 lead changes in that first half of footy alone. So we'll see a few more, you'd think, between now and an hour's time. Back in it comes. Good use of the body from Briggs on Caminiti. He clears the area here for the Giants. A little too deep was the kick for that initial contest, but there was a shove given away by Cadman on a Kilda player in Wilkie. From that commentary wing. Comes back into the corridor for Marshall. Assesses the options out wide, but holds it for a moment and just settles things down on the Sir Doug Nicholls logo. Now he'll go across and finds battle in space on the southeastern wing.
And the Saints just chip it around. They find Wanganeen Miller on the wing. He spots up with his excellent kicking skills. Mason Wood just outside attacking 50. The Giants down a couple of important defenders, Nick Haynes and Harry Himmelberg. They flooded defensive 50 though, so the Saints have to wait before eventually going into attack off the hands of Caminiti. Higgins is there, squeezes it out looking for Ryan Burns. And the Giants clear. Tom Green gets the handball, to Kieran Briggs, who now kicks. And it bounces into space. Who will it sit up for? Almost for Brent Daniels. He's won it back though. He's having a very good game. Handball over the top to Toby Bedford. Space now for the Giants. Jesse Hogan kicks into attack. Saints dropping back. The lead by Cadman is so well timed that he's marked it 2-on-1 against him. And Aaron Cadman, the number 1 draft pick, will kick from 25 out directly in front.
And again, Aaron Cadman, the beneficiary of some Brent Daniels magic in the middle of the ground. He's just, again, he wins a 1-on-1, but so clean and so efficient by hand on that occasion. Everything he's touching tonight is leading to a score.
So Aaron Cadman, without a goal in his last 2 weeks, the number 1 draft pick, to put the Giants back in front. He's done that, but he's kicked it out of... No, he hasn't. He's kicked out of bounds on the full, from straight in front. In fact, that's the second out of bounds on the full kick from Aaron Cadman on goal in this game. So he's struggling with his accuracy. 8-3-51 apiece. It stays, and vision on the big screen now has shown Mitch Owens up and alert, and that is very good news.
Dangerous kick out here. Steele controls it just despite the pressure of Tom Green in behind him. Lays off the hand pass. Little chip here from Dougal Howard, the recent 100-gamer. Still locked inside defensive 50 here for the Saints at the scoreboard end. Jack Sinclair, last year's BNF and All-Australian. Kicks to the outer side. Players converge through the air. Up goes Connor Iden. Burrows his way here past the tackle of Mason Wood. Still alive here for the Giants as Steele wraps up Whitfield ball and all. And the umpire says, give it to me. 65 out. Make it 70 out. Just forward in the wing at right half forward for the Giants. No change to our halftime score. 8-3-51 apiece, the Giants and Saints. And now a free kick for a block going the Saints' way on the other side of the ground.
Very disappointing for the Giants. They've they had the ball in their front half for the first time and very little time so far this quarter, but it's straight back out now.
Jack Steele, the former Giant, 2-time best and fairest winner at the Saints, kicks to half forward, one back by GWS. James Peatling with a high ball up and under to half forward. Falls over the back of the pack. Toby Bedford couldn't gather it cleanly. Another boundary throw in under the lights here at Giants Stadium.
Hopefully Aaron Cadman does take some confidence. You know, he's had 2 shots on goal, poor kicks, both of them, but that mark he took showed some serious confidence. Hopefully that helps him grow his game.
No score in our third term as yet, 6 minutes in. They clear the area here, the Saints, through Philippou. Had a good first half as well. Out to a pack. It ricochets out to Tom Green. Now Cornelio for the Giants. The former skipper just sends a raking ball towards half full, but a strong grab taken by a Wilkie. Just outbodied Hogan and Cal Wilkie in his 95th consecutive game. Comes up the line to find the sub, Ben Patton.
Again, Wilkie, he was just confident enough to stand under that footy. Hogan was trying to step around him from behind in front. He backed in his judgment to just read the flight of the ball and was too strong to take the mark on Hogan.
Wanganeen Miller has it in the middle of the ground. Uncharacteristic poor kick from him. It sits up nicely though for Webster, who got around O'Halloran, gives it back to Wanganeen Miller. Possession number 15 for him. That's a better kick out in front of Caminiti down there. He's in the forward pocket. He's wrapped up by Iden. And the Giants want holding the ball. Eventually it spills free. GWS can clear. Big leap by Wanganeen Miller off hands. Howard wins it back. Strong tackle in him from the youngster in Cadman. Now Seb Ross for the Saints. Off his left, kicks them deep into attack. The leap down there is from Mason Wood. It is through now 4-8 behind. So the Saints have the lead early in the third quarter. They are 8-4-52. GWS 8-3-51.
And I'm sure the Giants defenders probably happy to see that ball go through for a behind so they can actually get an easier exit out of defensive 50. A lot of rushed kicks coming out so far.
Neat ball from Ash to Finn Callahan. Has some space. Plays on. Just roosted up the outer side. Out to a 2-on-2. Again, a towering grab taken by Wilkie of the Saints.
Impressive. He's been ultra impressive.
Back in the middle of the ground here. He gets a good chain of hand pass going. Involved in there was Burns, and now wrapped up down there was Gresham. They go inside 50 though through Crouch. Wide of the pocket, and they're taking a tumbling mark down there for the Saints. Is Higgins. And he'll take his set shot. He'll have to cross the boundary line to kick from deep in the right forward pocket, and a chance for the Saints to extend their slender lead early in this third term.
So the St Kilda ball movement's been a little bit different to start this second half. When they're intercepting across half back, they're almost immediately turning inboard and rolling a lot quicker than what we've seen so far this season. Usually they're pretty patient, build the ball up a little bit, but they've been rolling and moving the ball really quick, and it's catching the Giants defenders unaware.
Jack Higgins, 3 goals against the Crows last week in that big loss. Here he is with a set shot, drop punt right across the face and knocked through for a minor score. It's St Kilda here by 2 points. 8-5-53, plays 8-3-51. 8.5 gone third term. Declan Byrne on the boundary.
Yeah, just confirmation Harry Himmelberg is out with concussion, so Giants a man down for the rest of the game.
Lost Nick Haynes already, of course. He was subbed out. Callan Ward on for him. The Giants move it out of defensive 50. Mitch Owen subbed out for St Kilda with what was a sickening head knock in the second quarter. Thankfully, he is okay and on the bench. Ben Patton into the game for St Kilda as Jack Steele marks now at centre-half forward for the Saints. Plays on, kicks it straight down the middle of the ground, deep into attack for the Saints. Off hands, and an errant handball from Peatley looking for Whitfield. Goes out for a boundary thrown in the right forward pocket for St Kilda. Callum Wilkie, another big game from him. 13 disposals, 5 marks, 7 contested possessions. He is the All-Australian favourite at the moment for the fullback position, having another big game.
6,000 or 7,000 hits tonight as AFL round 10 winds down. Out of the ruck, the Giants with numbers in defence. Ward fires a hand pass to Peatling. The young Giant tumbles it beyond defensive 50, out to a 2-on-2 through the fingertips of Josh Battle. And they're battling away at ground level. Out the back here, the Saints have numbers. Steele's hand pass, little 1-2 out there as well. Involved was Stocker, Burns as well. Now it's a neat kick from Marshall across half forward. Lays off the hand pass here, does Patton to Bradley Hill inside forward 50, honours the lead down there of the tumbling Butler. And he'll take his set shot from 40 out directly in front with a shot for his third.
It's just a barrage of inside 50s here for the Saints. I mean, the Giants are just struggling to get the ball out of defensive 50. It seems every time they win the footy back there, it's just this quick rushed high kick to try and exit and hope to get a contest up around half-back or the wing to allow them to perhaps try and move the ball forward. But St Kilda's defenders just setting up a treat and just sending the ball back in 50 on every occasion.
Butler, the one-time premiership Tiger, on the approach from 40. Here he is for a third, and he misses the left-hand side. So the Saints peppering away, but no goal for either side in this third term so far. 11 gone in it. And the Saints 8-6-54, GWS 8-3-51.
And that's the worry if you are a Saints fan, is they're not capitalising here on this period of dominance. They've just got so much ball that they're winning easy going inside 50. They've got to get some goals on the board.
Lockie Ash runs the Giants out of defensive 50. Riccardi got to the front of the pack but didn't mark cleanly. And the umpire says Toby Green was holding Josh Battle out of the contest. So a free kick to the Saints on the wing. And 11th inside 50 for the quarter coming up for St Kilda. The Giants just the one. Max King and Buckley battling away. Buckley does well in the contest, brings it to ground. Angwin to Riccardi. Giants under pressure. Angwin just fends off Seb Ross, but then handballs to a man in a 2-on-1 situation against him. So the Saints win it back. Wood and then Butler. One back by Whitfield. Can the Giants get some run through Ward and Daniels, and now Canelio with a looping handball over the top. He goes short and finds Toby Green. Marks it centre half forward, plays on, got the handball freeling for Hogan. It bounces up nicely for Jess Hogan. Fortuitously, he snaps on goal and kicks one for the Giants. Well, that was against the run of play enormously. GWS now out to a 3-point lead, and Jesse Hogan has 2 goals for the game.
Sorry to go over to interrupt. It wasn't pretty, was it? It was a bit chaotic. Toby Green played on, almost got tackled, managed to get a forward handball out to Jesse Hogan, and he swept on it, finished really nicely. But it's hard work in between the arcs at the moment for the Giants.
enormously against the run of play, like, and even underselling that. St Kilda just kept... The ball's been in their front half for 98% of this quarter so far. The Giants have got forward twice. Cadman took a mark, had a shot on goal, and then that bit of play there from the Giants to somehow manufacture something and somehow get a shot on goal that's totally against the run of play.
On the boundary, Declan Byrne.
Jack Steele and Jack Sinclair both came off, then both shaking their head. Really frustrated Saints out here.
Lead change number 9. The home side back ahead by half a goal. Restart back in the middle. Nice clearance. The tap came down from Briggs to Ward, the sub, the veteran. High ball inside forward 50. Out there with 3-on-2. Out the back there is Battle. Fires the hand pass back to Stocker, the former Blue. Makes a bit of a contest here. Wilkie was coming in, but the Giants have numbers around the football. O'Halloran 45 out. Eyes the stick. Sets it sort of high across the goal mouth now. Options down there deeper in attack for the Giants. Sprawling for it down there again is Toby Green. Pops a hand pass over the top to Cadman. On the run. Curls it around. What about that? For his 4th career goal, Aaron Cadman. The Giants with some momentum of that special team goal. Aaron Cadman with the finish, and the Giants are out by 9 points. 10-3-63, St Kilda 8-6-54. 13 gone, third term grandstand AFL.
So he's missed a couple of set shots tonight, Aaron Cadman, and one he wouldn't want to ever see again, but that one I reckon might be on the highlights reel for him. He made that look as easy as you like. Sato?
I mean, that's why I was probably chuckling to myself a little bit here, is he's missed 2 set shots and he's put both out on the full, and he kicks the left foot snap from the boundary, which I love. I mean, that's, again, hopefully confidence for him to maybe continue to keep growing his game. But momentum's an amazing thing in football, and if you don't capitalise on it, it can really bite you in the backside. And St Kilda, it's just happening right now. They've had all the play, couldn't kick a goal. Giants, bang, bang, got out to a now 9-point lead.
Back-to-back goals for the Giants, Hogan and then Cadman, and they've won it out of the middle again through Cornelio. He goes straight down the corridor, goes over the head of Cadman, bounces free of Riccardi as well. Battles back there for the Saints, gives it to Stocker, left back pocket. His kick to a contest. He's going to be met first by Lockie Ash, so the Giants win it again. His kick misses its target though. He was looking for Bedford. Coming out to meet it and marking is Wanganeen Millera for St Kilda.
And Arunga and Kukata man from South Australia. Wanganeen Millera. Right at the left half back area. And Mason Wood. That was the kick slightly inboard. Coming late to make the contest was Ward on Clark. Now Crouch, hand pass into space, gathered here by Ash of the Giants. The former skipper Ward floats a hand pass across here. It's picked off though by Burns of the Saints. He pulls the kick short though. It skids inside 50. On the end of it though is Gresham, who pops it through from the goal square. Not for the first time tonight either. That's his 2nd goal. In similar style, Jade Gresham was last man out the back and kicks an easy goal in the end. 15 goal on third term here at Giants Stadium. It's GWS 10-3-63, St Kilda 9-6-60 following Jade Gresham's 2nd goal.
Probably a goal they deserved quite a few minutes earlier from the play that they've been having. This one, unfortunately, for Callum Ward off the back of a poor handball into the corridor that just really put the Giants under pressure. And Gresham, he's been busy. He's had a fantastic game for them. He's now got his 2nd. He's been a very good player for the Saints.
Back in this week. He's a free agent too, so there may be some interest from other clubs that require a player of his ilk later on in the year.
6 tackles, Jade Gresham, 6 score involvements, now 2 goals to go with his 15 disposals. Only 32 games in the 3 seasons prior to this one, so he's struggled with injury. And he missed last week, but he is getting some regular football into him, and he's such a dangerous player for the Saints when that happens. GWS lead by 3 points. They've won it off the centre bounce. Josh Kelly has it. Kicks to half forward. It's just wide of Brent Daniels. Wanganeen Millera gets it again for the Saints. Handball to Wilkie. Drives it up the wing. Excellent mark. Caminiti wants to play on. Not sure of which option to take. Now he kicks long, looking for Max King in a contest with Buckley. He's done well on him, Buckley. Sits up well for Mason Wood, though, and Jack Higgins will kick one for the Saints. Running into an open goal. Higgins has 3, and the Saints hit back with back-to-back goals, and all of a sudden they're in the lead. They are 10-6-66. The Giants 10-3-63.
Mentioned before, momentum. It's unbelievable. The Saints had it, didn't score. Giants had it with a couple of quick goals, and then probably the next passage is a play off the back of those 2 goals. Saints flip it back round with another couple of quick ones, and we're sort of back where we were again, which is what the game deserves. It's been like that. Both teams are creating some really good opportunities when they can, and once again, another one of the St Kilda Smalls popping up, looking dangerous inside 50. And another goal to Higgins. That's his 3rd. And
I was lip reading Adam Kingsley on the big screen there. Just no numbers at the drop of ball there. Higgins just runs in completely unopposed. So I'm sure a message has gone out to the Giants defenders who are on these smalls saying tighten up.
Our experts Alicia Eva and Jason Taddington on Grandstand AFL right across Australia and beyond. Saints by 3 points in the last game of round 10. Community Pole's on top here from the clearance. Kelly meets him. The umpire's waiting. He's going to ping Community here, and he does indeed. So it was kept in underneath you.
I think you sanitised that lip reading.
Josh Kelly works at forward of halfway here for the Giants. Up the corridor. It was too deep, and it just sits out the back nicely for the intercept mark to be taken by Crouch. Saints, they'll come beyond defensive 50 up to a contest on the wing. Spilled down there by Peatling. The umpire will ball up again at left half forward for the Giants. It's the Saints who lead by 3 points. 18 go on 3rd turn.
I mentioned it in the second quarter that the Saints were definitely on top at centre bounce. The Giants in the 3rd quarter have put Cal Ward in there, and I think there'd be ahead centre bounce clearance this quarter, so a bit of a change up there.
The man you speak of, Cal Ward, with a sweeping handball to Toby Green, but dropping back smartly was Josh Battle for St Kilda, aware of the danger from the Green kick, and he was able to mark in the hole. Gives it to Sinclair. That's a scrappy kick from Jack Sinclair, though, just in front of Brian Burns at his bootlaces. So boundary throw in left half forward for the Giants, who trail the Saints by 3 points. We've gone 18 and a half minutes in the 3rd quarter.
The margin has not gone beyond 13 points in the game so far.
Yeah, I've been impressed with St Kilda's backs. Interceptabilities of Wilkie, Howard's been strong in battle. I think they've been terrific.
Hand pass from Marshall, miss Burn. They go inside 50 though a second time, and doing the defensive work down there for the Saints is Stocker. He'll swing it across to Cal Wilkie. Up the outer side now. The switch is on here for the Saints, who keep a 3-point lead approaching time on here in the 3rd quarter. So, in the hands of Patton. Kicks for distance up the outer side. That's a one-on-one. Strong towering grab taken by Perryman over the back of Butler, and the Giants swing it across the half-back line here themselves.
We move to half-back. Harry Perryman with the players going down for the Giants in Haynes and Himmelberg. Lockie Ash gets it back from Brent Daniels. Hard running from Lockie Ash, and it's a downfield free kick. So Lockie Ash was felled as he disposed of the football by Jack Steele, and there are 4 or 5 Giants, some of them his former teammates, pushing and shoving Jack Steele. They didn't like the late work on Lockie Ash. So it's a free kick downfield to Toby Green, just outside 50. Left half forward for the Giants. Toby Green back in the GWS side. 2 goals for the game. Just pops this one up to the top of the square. Cutting across and marking strongly down there is Rowan Marshall for the Saints. It wasn't paid though. Marshall thought he had enough of it. The umpire says it fell to the ground. So goes through for a rush behind after all of that. Margin back to 2 points in favour of the Saints.
Quick kick out here for St Kilda. Comes from Sinclair to Wanganeen Miller. Holds it in the left back pocket. Much cooler temperature now around Giants Stadium. The Olympic Park precincts. Receives the hand pass again as Wanganeen Miller, and now a short kick to Wilkie on the opposite pocket. Back into the corridor now. Stocker dummies the hand pass. Called to play on. Send it across the defensive goal mouth again. Sinclair arrives in time to mark, but just can't find the exit here, St Kilda. 2 points is their lead. We've just hit time on here in the 3rd quarter. Stretching for it to take the mark on the outer side of the ground is Stocker. So comes back across here for Howard. Dougal Howard wide beyond defensive 50 to Bradley Hill. I'll start again from right half back.
Saints try to get something going. Wanganeen Miller with some hard running. He's been really good for the Saints. Gets it from Hill. Kicks to half forward. Just over the head of Caminetti, but he had his arms chopped, Caminetti. So Saints free kick. Hill gets it back. Pops it up inside 50. Philippou couldn't mark. Giants under pressure. Angwin goes backwards to Iden. Needs to get clear of defensive 50. It's an up and under ball, and underneath it is Steele. Marking well. Watched it closely. work Josh Kelly under the football. Has it at left half forward, plays on now. He'll have a shot on goal, Jack Steele, from 48 metres out. It's across the face, off hands, through for a rush behind. The Saints 10-7-67. GWS 10-4-64. 3-point lead to St Kilda.
Mentioned just before about some of the taller defenders for the Saints have been busy, but like Sinclair's had 22. He's been great off half-back. You know, Wanganeen Miller at 21. They're giving him great drive off half-back. Even Stocker with 17's been very good.
They go toward the outer side, the Giants, marked though by Marshall and a St Kilda jumper. And now Clark spears the pass to centre-half forward. Marked by Wood, 55 out. Sinclair running by. Can he finish on the run from 45? You betcha! Oh, he's a class player, Jack Sinclair. Every week just gets better and better. Last year's BNF and All-Australian is an important part of that St Kilda team. And that's a very important goal. They're out by 9 points. The Saints 11-7-73. The Giants 10-4-64. 23 gone now in the third term at Giants Stadium.
Yeah, doing it in style too. It's a very important mullet, an impressive mullet he's got there. He's got the long sleever on tonight. Terrific. I mean, he's been fantastic as well, cross half back. I mean, we mentioned just a second ago the 23 touches, but to get forward and to finish there, he's having huge impact off the back.
And going at 91% efficiency, which is outstanding.
He's a star, Jack Sinclair. That's his 50th career goal. And a beautiful one at that, on the run, to put St Kilda 9 points clear. All-Australian, best and fairest winner for the Saints from last season. Has not lost a step in 2023, Jack Sinclair. Arguably their best at the moment. They lead by 9 points. We get close to three-quarter time. Giants need a hit back now. Brent Daniels can't get it cleanly. Saints through again, Sinclair, and then Brad Hill work it up to the wing. And it's marked by Higgins, who's having an impact. 3 goals for him for the game. That kick is wide of its target and crouch, though, and marked by Tom Green at half-back for the Giants.
Tom Green had 30 touches last week against Collingwood. Now comes wide to Connor Iden at left half-back. And it's a slow build-up. Saints leading here by 9 points.
Definitely struggling with their ball movement at the moment, the Giants. They're held up, slow, under pressure.
Back to Iden. Kicks up the members' side. Strong uncontested grab taken by Jake McCarty. Plays on now. Inside forward 50. Needs a flyer there in Jesse Hogan. It missed him and also his direct opponent in battle. And skids out of bounds for a throw-in. Scoreboard end. Just near the Giants' goal. The left forward pocket. It's the Saints here 11-7-73. GWS 10-4-64 after earlier. Collingwood beat Carlton by 28 and Hawthorn over West Coast by 116 in Launceston.
24 and a half minutes gone. Third term, Saints up by 9 points. Hunter Clark spikes it away, but only as far as Josh Kelly. Snaps towards goal on his right off the hands of Cadman, who was converged upon by a couple of Saints in Howard and Wilkie, who are the twin towers back there for St Kilda. Off hands for a boundary throw in next to the behind post. Attacking 50 for the Giants.
Another chance here at a forward 50 stoppage. You see Daniels, Cornelio and Toby Green trying to do a few deals for each other.
Hogan doing the ruck work with Rowan Marshall. Marshall stands strong and now clears the ball from defensive 50 for St Kilda. The towering ruckman. Off hands, spills free to Butler. Now Higgins and Gresham. The mosquito fleet of the Saints get going. Here's Jack Sinclair again in the middle of Giants Stadium. The handball missed the mark of Burns. Burns gathered it again. Butler tried to paddle it to a teammate. One back by Kelly. Now Buckley looking for help. Doesn't have much in support. Crouch dances around a teammate. Gets it to Sinclair. And now Patton.
He was the loose man. Patton the sub. Goes inside forward 50. 2-on-1 down. Coming in, it overpowers O'Halloran. Awkward though on the follow-up. Gets a hand pass out to Wanganeen Miller and he goes wide of the pocket. Max King pulls in the overhead grab. 40 out deep in the left forward pocket at the Olympic Stadium end.
So it just looks like at the moment that St Kilda are just outworking the Giants across the ground. They're just getting more numbers at the drop of ball. They're outspreading them. They're owning the outside at stoppage. The Giants are making, well, somewhat taking their opportunities inside forward 50, but they're not coming thick and fast. St Kilda just need to take advantage of these marks and free kicks inside their forward 50.
Yeah, it looks like they're just holding on at the moment. The Giants are battling away.
Max King on the approach for a fourth goal. Tough angle here, left-hand side for a game-high lead as well. Up they go. Players of both sides. Higgins keeps it alive now. Hand over the shoulder down there from one of those Giants defenders at far corner of the ground. And Buckley it was who brought down his opponent. So a ball up again, 15 out from the Saints goal.
Giants hanging out for three-quarter time. The Saints would love another one. Tom Green with another clearance. But it's not to any teammate in particular. It was rushed, the kick, and that allowed Dougal Howard to mark on the wing. Saints flexing their muscle. The Giants have lost a couple of important defenders in Haynes and Himmelberg to head knocks. Mitch Owens out for the Saints as they go inside 50 again. It's slapped away from the contest, bounces over the boundary line for a boundary throw-in. Right forward pocket for St Kilda. They lead by 9 points. Time ticking down towards three-quarter time.
It's definitely been the story of the quarter. Again, Giants just a rushed high exit kick, and the St Kilda defenders, Dougal Howard, that time too strong, marks the ball and it goes back inside 50 again.
Toss back in, up in front, Briggs. Umpire spotted the free kick here, and it will go the way of
the umpires.
What's he saying here?
Throw it in again.
Throw it in again. Okay. Wasn't a fair contest. This will be a short quarter as well. The second one went pretty long because of the Mitch Owens delay with the stretcher and Medicab. So this will be a much shorter game with fewer scoring opportunities or fewer scoring shots. Gresham tries to clear here for the Saints. The Giants work at the on-defensive 50 through Ward. At the drop now, the handball comes a little 1-2 out there from Stocker. Overrun, they'll allow Green to swoop through. Loose man there is Daniels. He's 60 from home. Unguarded goal square. Brett Daniels can skid it through on the run, and it's there. And the Giants get a very important goal right before three-quarter time.
Everything he's touching is turning to gold.
Oh, Stormy Daniels, his second goal this afternoon. 11-7-73, the Giants 11-4-70. 28 now gone in the third term here on Grandstand AFL.
But the goals are just coming, from moments of brilliance, whether it be Toby Green turning someone inside out or Brent Daniels swoop, on the end of some brilliance, They're not coming easily for the Giants. It's not marks inside 50, it's not hit-up kicks, it's a bit of chaos. Once they get it in their forward half, they look dangerous when they put speed on ball, but it's the process of getting it out of deep 50 where they're struggling.
It's sort of been their story of the year, the Giants, and they have patches throughout a game where they really struggle, but then they find a way to keep scoring and keeping themselves in contests or roar their way back into contests, and they've just hung in there this quarter, and it's unbelievable to think they're actually in the lead because they have been outplayed through this quarter.
Another Giants goal against the run of play, though, through Ben Daniels. Now they win the clearance through Tom Green. Bounces in attacking 50 for GWS. Riccardi couldn't get clean hands to it. Now Brent Daniels can, though. He's been dangerous. Toby Green scrapping away. That's always a worry for the opposition team. We'll have a ball up inside attacking 50 here for the Giants. Seconds remaining until three-quarter time. The Saints lead by 3 points. And GWS kick a late one to go into the three-quarter time break with the lead. Sinclair ensures that doesn't happen by winning it off the ruck contest down to Wanganeen Miller. It falls the way of Brent Daniels. Steele is there, as is Brad Hill. He's wrapped up by Xavier O'Halloran. It is tight and tense as we get close to that three-quarter time siren.
So the Saints have spent the most time in front based on this quarter alone. It's been a tight game early on. Three quarters just about done. The Giants from the pocket, a flying shot on the three-quarter time siren out there from Cal Ward. It's still alive, so pitch back in the field of play, and it will be no further score, Your Honour. So St Kilda leading by 3 points, 11-7-73. Greater Western Sydney 11-4-70. Goal kickers in this game so far. Firstly, for the Saints who lead, King and Higgins each have 3. Gresham and Butler with a couple, and a single to Jack Sinclair. What a goal it was too in that third quarter. Meanwhile, for the Giants, goals to three-quarter time. 2 goals for Hogan, Green and Daniels. Singles to O'Halloran, Kelly, Cornelio, Cadman and Bedford here at the final change here at Giant Stadium. Keep your texts coming, 0437 774 774. We're with you until another hour or so, 8 o'clock local time here, wrapping up today's 3 games and, of course, that round 10 has it finished. And round 11 begins back here in Sydney next week. The Marngrook game as part of Sir Doug Nicholls' round, the second week of that, with the Sydney Swans hosting Carlton at the Sydney Cricket Ground. 1 quarter to play here, though. The Saints by 3 points on ABC Radio, News Radio and the ABC Listen app. You're listening to Grandstand AFL.
Welcome, my child. You seek wisdom and knowledge to decode and decipher, to understand that which we in the world call life. I see you and the ABC Listen app across every big story on ABC News Daily, recognising wrongs of the past on Stuff the British Stole, and untangling the mysteries of the universe with Dr. Carl. I don't want your money. The ABC Listen app is as free as knowledge itself. Now go and download the ABC Listen app.
This is the Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Yeah, just confirmation Harry Himmelberg is out with concussion, so Giants a man down for the rest of the game.
Finds Toby Green, marks it centre half forward, plays on, got the handball freeling for Hogan. It bounces up nicely for Jess Hogan. Fortuitously, he snaps on goal and kicks one for the Giants. Well, that was against the run of play enormously.
Sprawling for it down there again is Toby Green. Pops a hand pass and it's up to Cadman. On the run, curls it around. What about that? For his 4th career goal, Aaron Cadman. The Giants with some momentum off that special team goal. Picked off, though, by Burns of the Saints. He pulls the kick short, though. It skids inside 50. On the end of it, though, is Gresham, who pops it through from the goal square. Not for the first time tonight either. That's his 2nd goal.
Not sure of which option to take. Now he kicks long, looking for Max King in a contest with Buckley. Done well in Buckley. Sits up well for Mason Wood, though. And Jack Higgins will kick one for the Saints. Running into an open goal. Higgins has 3, and the Saints hit back with back-to-back goals.
And now Clark spears the pass to centre half forward. Marked by Wood, 55 out. Sinclair running by. Can he finish on the run from 45? You betcha! Oh, he's a class player, Jack Sinclair. Every week just gets better and better. Last year's B&F and All-Australian out there from Stocker. Overrun though, allowed Green to swoop through. Loose man there is Daniels. He's 60 from home. Unguarded goal square. Brett Daniels can skid it through on the run, and it's there. And the Giants get a very important goal right before 3/4 time.
Everything he's touching is turning to gold.
The 2023 Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
On ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Bodies are falling, the lead keeps changing, and there is still half an hour left in round 10 here at Giants Stadium. It's St Kilda 11-7-73, Greater Western Sydney, the Giants 11-4-70. You're with Brett Sprigg, Daniel Garb, Declan Byrne on the boundary, and our experts are Jason Saddington and Alicia Eber.
Well, fascinating quarter in terms of where the scoreboard ended up, and we were still a really tight contest. For me, it was St Kilda dominated most of that quarter. They had a lot of footy in their front half, and certainly early in the quarter, just couldn't capitalise at times with the amount of possession they were winning and the amount of inside 50s. Struggled to capitalise, a couple of missed shots on goal, and then we saw the Giants kick a couple of quick ones to jump out to a little lead. St Kilda took the ascendancy back again, and we saw some quality finishes from Sinclair, who's been outstanding for the Saints through the middle and winning ball off half-back as well. The small forwards popped up again for St Kilda. Gresham, Butler and Higgins, continue to be dangerous. I thought Jack Buckley did a fantastic job on Max King that quarter, kept him quiet up in that part of the ground. And I guess what the Giants were able to do was just scrap inside defensive 50 under the weight of numbers. There was a lot of kicks that were just high dump kicks coming out that St Kilda were cutting off. Howard, Wilkie, and even Battle was sending the ball back in, but they scrapped hard enough and they took their chances when they could. Somehow Toby Green would find a way to get the ball forward. Brent Daniels, who I know you're loving his game, Alicia, was able to get on the end of one. It's, the Giants have found themselves holding in there through that quarter and scrapped their way through to, still be here, a real even contest at 3/4 time.
Yeah, for mine it's exactly that the Giants, if they're going to score, it has to go through either Toby Green or Brent Daniels at the moment. And that's credit to the St Kilda, half back line. We've spoken about Wilkie, Howard. They've been repelling everything in the air. So everything that's led to a score for the Giants has more or less come through a quick handball chain, Toby Green turning someone inside out, and Brett Daniels ending up on the end of it. For St Kilda, they look really dynamic going inside 50. They've changed angles really well across half back. I've been really impressed with Wanganeen Miller's third quarter. He was, he's got such a weapon of a kick. He can kick long, he can kick short, and most importantly, he can kick to forwards advantage. So you never quite know where the next score is going to come from St Kilda, but there's always something there. And the second part to that is if they're not marking it in the air, it's coming to deck, coming to the ground, and the St Kilda small forwards are having a field day.
A few quick numbers, Garby.
You mentioned Wangan Millera, 23 disposals. Jackson Clare, 29, 3 clearances, 3 score involvements and a goal. Whitfield, 25 for the Giants. Tom Green, 25. Toby Green, 10 score involvements. Brent Daniels, 8. Both of them with 2 goals.
St Kilda by 3 points. Into the final term we go, and Josh Kelly has taken high. Actually, he paid advantage the umpire, but now we'll come back here for a Josh Kelly free kick. And the left footer sends it high inside 50 here for the Giants. Running start from Hogan. Up in front was Briggs, his teammate, who put up the 2 hands and clunks it, despite the threat of his teammate coming from behind. But Briggs does take the overhead mark. 30 out directly in front.
That's great work from the ruckman, the big fella, to push forward and take a really strong, powerful mark. He's been sitting in the VFL in really good form through the front part of the year. Matt Flynn's been the first choice ruck. He went out, Briggsy's got his chance, and I must say he's been pretty good tonight.
His 10th career game, his first this year for the local products, and he just squeezes this left-hand side for a minor score. Margin is 2 points St Kilda's way. 11-7 plays 11-5 inside the opening 60 of this final quarter at Giants Stadium.
Opportunity spurned from Kieran Briggs, who's been more than lively in his first game of the season for the Giants. Saints with a 2-point lead, start of the last quarter. Bring it out of defensive 50. Jack Steele's there, gets a handball forward to Brad Hill. He's wrapped up by Tom Green. Both sets of players scrapping away. Needs the class of Jackson Clare to bring it away. And now kick the Saints deep into attack. Dropping back is Cam Fleeton. And marking importantly in defensive 50 for the Giants. And he's 150 as well against Gresham, who encroached on the mark. Cam Fleeton in just his second game of AFL football in the absence of Haynes and Himmelberg needs to stand up, and he is.
A late pick a couple of drafts ago. High inside 50 they go through Lockie Ash. It's just a raking ball. Up go the Flyers. At the drop though. Down there is Briggs. The big man roves it, snaps and goes.
Just looking at Cam Fleeton as well, and the backs will get around him.
The Giants finish off with Kieran Briggs. But handiwork from after the 50 from Cam Fleeton. But Briggs makes it count at the other end despite his missed opportunity a short time ago. So the Giants are back in front, 12-5-77. The St Kilda side are 11-7-73. 2.5 gone final two. There's been 11 lead changes now in the game. I labour the point, but the margin has not gone beyond 13 points, and that was early in the first term.
Must be a bit of a strategic push from Adam Kingsley to tell Kieran Briggs to actually get forward. We saw him take a mark inside 50 earlier, missed a set shot, and this time he's there crumbing the ball inside 50 after Fleeton's won the 50, so he's pushed hard to get ahead of the ball again and kicked a lovely goal. So obviously a bit of a ploy from Adam Kingsley to say, Kieran, get on your bike, get forward and try and do what he's done, get some shots on goal.
Giants back in front by 4 points. Do not touch your dial wherever you're listening. This is going to be a thriller on ABC Grandstand. The Saints go inside attacking 50, but Cam Fleeton, the youngster, gathers the football. His kick, though, is wide of Toby Bedford and read better by Ben Patton. The sub on for the Saints for Mitch Owens, who's off with concussion. Patton finds Brad Crouch at right half forward, 70 out from goal for the Saints. So he kicks it to a dangerous area inside 50. Max King in front position marks. In the contest opposed to Buckley. In his first game for the year, Max King, he already has 3 goals to his name, and now he's taken a strong grab directly in front.
And the third quarter, Jack Buckley probably had his measure, Max King, after he had a terrific first half. That marking contest, their front spot, these long levers. He's a tall man, but long stretch. If he's got front spot and he's got an opportunity to jump at the footy, he's going to mark it.
10 metres out, just right of centre. The King is back. Max has 4, and the Saints have the lead back by 2 points.
What a contest. What a contest. Another lead change. How many is that now, Spriggy? I think we've had 12. Plenty of them. 12 lead changes. And the momentum just keeps shifting. It's a fantastic contest. You can see when the ball's going either end inside 50, both teams are looking dangerous. It really does feel like this one's going to go right down to the wire. Who's going to be in front at the end type feel, Alicia?
Absolutely. I think to be in those coaches' boxes right now. It'd be quite vocal, I reckon. But just outstanding forward craft by Max King there, watching it on the replay. Jack Buckley actually started in a really good position in front of Max King, but he was able to use his strength, but also his footwork to shift Jack Buckley out of the way and take that contested grab.
So from the restart, Saints back in front by 2 points. Briggs wins it down. Crouch those sockers away here for the Saints. Wood meets it heavily. Hand pass back to Marshall. Off the step, the big man tumbles a high ball inside forward 50. It'll drop 40 out. Whereabouts? It was left alone by all players. Slap forward here to Max King on the run. He snaps. He was pushed off the kick late. Good pressure it was out there. And it's knocked through by Connor Iden for a minor score. So Max King came down heavily. It was Finn Callahan, I fancy, in that contest with him. And it will be just a minor score for the Saints, who lead by 3 points. 12-8 plays 12-5.
3 head knocks in this game, and that was a high ball. Nobody really wanted to go for it, it must be said. Everyone left it alone, and eventually it just bounced free. All in dispute on the wing. Rowan Marshall has been excellent dives on it. Helps to win it back for St Kilda. There's a free kick paid. Advantage not paid, though. Steele, and his legs taken out. So the free kick for the Saints. He goes deep inside 50, looking for Caminiti. Buckley's there, as is Fleeton. GWS under pressure. Green trying to get hands on it. That's Tom Green. It falls the way of Jack Sinclair. He snaps on goal and it bounces through. Sinclair's second of the game, and he's having an enormous influence. That's his 33rd disposal, Jack Sinclair. And 2 very important goals now for the Saints, who are out to a 9-point lead.
Just a classy finish too from Sinclair. The handball from Buckley was a little bit loose coming out. A few little fumbles in there. I think Tom Green, you don't see that often, him cough the ball up. Fell out to Sinclair. Lovely right foot snap. Lovely finish. He's having a heck of a game. Best on ground at the moment for me, for sure.
Absolutely.
By fair margin, you could say.
How he was able to have so much free space there at the back of that drop of the ball. I'm not sure who was on him, but someone should have been. When a player is in red-hot form like that, you'd expect he'd be getting close attention, but found himself in a really good spot there and hit scoreboard.
He's watched by Cornelio now. Jack Sinclair, what a game for him so far. The job's not done yet. St Kilda by 9. 13-8 plays 12-5. From the restart, Briggs against Marshall. Socked forward by Cornelio, only as far as Steele for the Saints. Gets it back now, Burns. Now Stocker was run down from behind by Daniels. Good pressure act here from GWS. Webster loses the football as well here on the logo western side. They pile in from all angles, and the umpire's going to ping someone here. It's going to be, I fancy it's going the way of the Saints. For Kelly, who was met underneath all of that, first of all. And Steele just flares it wide to Sinclair.
Going to have an impact on the game, Jack Steele as well. Sinclair with possession number 34 finds Jimmy Webster on the wing. The Saints with the 9-point lead. 8 minutes gone in the last term. Happy to just control the footballs. Webster goes inboard to find the former Blue in Liam Stocker. His options are limited, so he goes backwards to Callum Wilkie. Wilkie plays on to half forward. Well done by Ward to spoil that away from Ryan Burns. Boundary throw in left half forward for the Saints. They are 13-8-86. GWS 12-5-77. This will be a very big win for Ross Lyon's side if they can hang on. Plenty of time to go, though.
Both sides coming off their biggest losses of this season so far. It's the Giants belted by the Pies last week. St Kilda humbled by Adelaide. Handball from Sinclair goes nowhere. Gathered here by Ash of the Giants. Now they can clear again through Perryman. Tumbles it back up the line here toward the benches on the members' side. And Toby Green and Jimmy Webster see it out of bounds for a throw-in. Not far away from you, Declan Byrne. How's it conditions-wise down there?
Yeah, it's fresh. It's about 12 degrees. There's no wind, thankfully. But yeah, very dewy out in the ground as well.
Cold night in Sydney. The Giants back at Giants Stadium looking for a win to keep their slim top 8 hopes alive. They are pretty much dismissed if they drop this one. As players fight for the football on the wing, and a Saint is caught holding the ball. That is Hunter Clark by Brent Daniels, who plays on quickly. He's been brilliant in the live wire for the Giants. Finds Josh Kelly, and this will suit him on his left. He can open things up and kick the Giants deep into attack. They need something to happen here. Hogan floats across, off hands Falls back to Josh Battle, who just tumbles one torpedo style out of defensive 50. Caminiti got a lot of purchase on that football, couldn't control it 100%. Tom Green falls on him. We'll have a ball up. No, we won't. Caminiti will be caught holding the ball. Umpire says he could have got rid of it. Another chance for the Giants to make something happen in attack.
Some discussion at three-quarter time around holding the ball from the umpires, perhaps. Has seen 3 paid. It was just a lot of people piling on.
Tom Green finds Cornelio. Possession number 26 for Tom Green. Now leads the disposal count for the home side. Cornelio 65 out. Sorry, Alicia. Sets it high to the hot spot here. Running start from a couple of jumpers down there. At the back, Wilkie. Who else? Takes the intercept. Tries to share the kick to Battle, but he doesn't get enough on it. It just trickles out of the behind post for a minor score. So an inadvertent rush behind by Callum Wilkie. And it's the Giants who add one more to their score. 12-6, 78. St Kilda 13-8, 86.
He's going that well at the moment. He might have meant that, Callum Wilkie. Just pretended like he miskicked it. He was off his boot and through for a rush behind, which suited the Saints in the situation. The Stocker kicks it out to left half back. That's not the best option because Connor Ryden's the first emitter for the Giants. Handball inboard to Brent Daniels. Finds space. The Giants need this. Daniels has missed the mark across the face of goal. Through for a behind. GWS 12-7, 79. St Kilda 13-8, 86. They lead by 7 the away side. Down to Declan Byrne on the boundary.
The Giants have really noticeably decreased their interchanges. So that, again, reminding you they're playing one player down. Whitfield's been off for 6 or 7 minutes.
Saints by 7 points. Kick out beyond defensive 50 from Josh Battle. They converge on the outer wing. At the drop, out there is Finn Callahan. Be a free kick here going the Saints' way. A player was shoved illegally in all of that. It's Mason Wood. Works the hand pass forward here. Off to Patton, the sub. High ball up the outer wing. Back with the flight. Nice chest mark controlled by Filippo. He's 70 from goal now. Swings it back to the corridor. Right in the hole and well judged by Gresham. Takes the chest mark despite a couple of Giants coming either side of him. And Gresham will take the set shot here from 45 out, slightly right of centre to extend St Kilda's lead.
They got the shot on goal from 50 here, but Max King was unlucky not to get a free kick. Connor Ryden and Jack Buckley both probably putting on a bit of hold on him as he was trying to lead. Umpire didn't pick it up.
So Jade Gresham back in this week. One of their 3 changes. Connects here from 50. Let's fly for an equal game-high lead St Kilda's way. He misses near side for a minor score. And the Saints lead by those 8 points. 13-9-87 to the Giants 12-7, 79.
Declan called the interchange. Obviously not worried. No chance going to go over the 75.
No.
Very topical of you, to bring that up.
Controversial, Jason.
As Lockie Ash brings the ball back in for the Giants. Finds Connor Ryden. The right back pocket. Plenty of time left. The Giants will be desperate for the next goal. If the Saints can find it, will give them a lot of relief in their quest for a big win. They switched at the Giants, and now Finn Callahan's dropped the football while trying to get away from his opponent in Filippo. And that's a free kick people thought would be James Peatling. He's the player who's worse for wear after that contest, but the free kick actually gone to Mason Wood on the outer wing.
The umpire's call, he didn't have eyes on the footy, Peatling, as he went back for it.
Wood plays on now. High kick into attack off the hands of King. Higgins is under it. He's got 3 goals to his name. Sinclair has 2 as well. He snaps it to a dangerous spot. Angwin's underneath it, as is Lockie Whitfield. He carries it over for a rush behind. The Saints now lead by 8 points.
I don't have a stat, but the difference between the 2 sides for mine in this second half is that St Kilda just have numbers at every...
Ward run down from behind by Bradley Hill. Great chase and tackle. Ward didn't hear the footsteps. Bradley Hill has the footy in hand. 55 out here for the Saints. So, the Saints by 9. Hill squeezes it to the pocket, trying to find King. Roving it down there is Wood. Tough angle, pulls it back into the corridor. Goes end over end, top of the square. Who goes up there? Angwin can't pull it down in defence for the Giants. Cleared away here, Buckley. Off to Finn Callahan. He just thump it clear, but it lands straight in the lap of Jack Sinclair. Sinclair's 52 out, slightly right of centre. And he comes back to the corridor for Wanganeen Millera. So he improves the angle, not so the distance. A couple of unmarked men here. Webster is one of them. Wanganeen Millera did dummy the kick, so he kind of I guess to some interpretations, played on. That's how they sometimes pay it, but not this time for Nasiah Wanganeen-Millera. Saints by 9. Margin has not gone beyond 13 points either way, with 15 going final quarter here at Giants Stadium. Wanganeen-Millera on the approach. Doesn't quite have the distance on the line there. It's knocked away by the Giants' defence. Doesn't clear the goal line. And Saint was in there first, but the umpire says, give it to me. So we're ball up, just inches away from that goal line, deep at the scoreboard end. St Kilda here by 9 points.
Should be holding the ball because the Giants player had the chance to get rid of it. He dragged it in. Anyway, it's next to the goal line. They don't often pay that. As Max King has a shot on goal. Tried to soccer it through and hit his opponent in Jack Buckley in the face. Eventually went through for a rush behind. So scrappy here in the last term.
Smothered it with his chops.
Saints lead by 10 points. Giants need to get something going. Here's Lockie Whitfield. Runs it out from the goal square. Coming out to meet it is Jesse Hogan. Strong grab. Right half back. Goes inboard now and finds Tom Green. Possession number 28 coming up for him. He'll go back to Jesse Hogan as the Saints try and get players behind the football to protect this 10-point lead. 15.5 gone in the last quarter. Jesse Hogan kicks it to right half forward. Underneath it is Toby Green, big fly, roved by O'Halloran. He's dangerous, finds space. The kick on his left is over a couple of Saints. Back there is Dougal Howard. He's wrapped up strongly. We'll have a ball up inside 50 for the Giants. It was a strong tackle by Cadman. Well done, the youngster, the number 1 draft pick. He locked it in attacking 50 for his team.
St Kilda by 10 points, 16 going final term here in Sydney. Ball in the air. Marshall. Toby Green, slight size disparity. Marshall can clear towards the outer side. Out to the one-on-one down there. King got into the back of Buckley and gives away the free kick accordingly.
I think Max King will be thinking to himself, how come he gets one straight up and I should have got 5 before that?
Buckley goes searching inside 50 here for the Giants. Cadman leaps up here, can't control it though. At the drop, Steele gets there first, slips the tackle of Toby Green. Gilio's in there as well. Ross brought to ground with it as well. 40 out now from the Giants goal. The umpire says, let's ball it up. St Kilda leads here by 10 points. And we've played 17 minutes in the final term.
Giants need the next one. Marshall palms it down. Cornelio has it though. He's wrapped up by a couple of Saints. Jack Steele, one of them. Strong tackle. Ball up. Left forward pocket for GWS.
Toby Green staying out of this stoppage. I thought he was going to waltz his way over and try and get involved.
Cornelio slow to get up in the hands of the trainers.
He's working his way in there now, Toby Green.
I was going to say he might still, Sato.
Cornelio's proppy. Play on for the moment. Marshall wins the tap. Peatling's under it. Finn Callahan tries to dance through a couple of tackles. Somehow gets the ball free. There is Toby Green. And the Saints won't be giving him any space in a situation like this. Wrapped up. Ball up. Inside 50 for GWS. Attacking 50, that is.
Hands 12 times. Not for a while, though. The Saints by 10. Umpire spreads them here for the stoppage. Now he's spotted the free kick, which will go the way of Marshall and the Saints. Against Toby Green. Didn't say what it was for, but I know it's against Toby Green. Marshall.
Well, he got involved, Sato, just in the wrong way.
Yep. Comes across the goal mouth here for Wanganeen-Millera. Comes beyond defensive 50 now. Out to the wing. Plenty of space out there for Jimmy Webster. Works the hand pass back wide to Bradley Hill. The former Hawk and Docker. That comes back to the logo members' side. Battle slows it down. Little chip pass here to Stocker. The former Blue. Swings it back across towards that far wing. No one's out there apart from Mason Wood. The Saints control things here by 10 points. Wood loads up inside forward 50. Wants to find King. Or even better, Hunter Clark was in best position. As they came late to him, Clark pulls in the overhead grab and he's 40 out, slight angle to the right.
So Lockie Whitfield came forward off Hunter Clark to try and pick up Jack Steele. Josh Kelly was chasing Jack Steele across the ground to make sure he had him. Lockie Whitfield came up thinking he needed to get to Steele as well, and that left Clark free for the longer kick. Jack Buckley wasn't able to get across and cover him quick enough.
The Giants have been plucky at home this year. This will be tough though, you'd think. 16 points if Clark converts. He misses. Still a 2-goal ball game. As we approach time on here, 19 going final quarter at Giants Stadium. It's the Saints 13-12-90, the Giants 12-7-79.
So what do you pull the trigger on if you're Adam Kingsley, Sato?
That's a good question, Alicia. I'll get back to you.
Harry Perryman goes out to left half back. Giants need the next one desperately, and they've won a free kick. Toby Bedford will be given it against Mason Wood for high contact. He's at left half back.
I don't know if there's anything in particular they need to do. I think they just need to keep attacking the game like they have all year.
Taking it on quickly.
Yep.
Bedford kicks to half forward. Riccardi's underneath it. He struggled to get into the game again, Jake Riccardi. Jack Steele, high up and under, marked well by Whitfield. Jumping all over Liam Stocker, but fairly. Goes short and finds Cornelio. Giants into attack now. They need a goal here. Hogan comes out to meet it and marks on the second attempt. Jesse Hogan juggling. Takes an important grab, and if he can convert, the margin is back within a goal. It'll be just 5 points.
He's done that a couple of times this quarter, Hogan, not necessarily out of the goal square, but he's given himself a long run and jump at the ball, and when he's moving at pace, he's very, very hard to defend.
Jesse Hogan with 2 goals for the game. This a super important kick. 20 minutes gone in the last. The Giants need the next one. Hogan can provide it, but he's failed to do so. That is a bad miss for the Giants. Saints lead by 9 points. That was a critical opportunity and it was spurned.
So, Sato, what if you're Ross Lyon? What does St Kilda do with just under 6 minutes remaining?
I think they just keep controlling the play like they are. I mean, they can't go slow because they do need to keep scoring. I think there's still plenty of time left in this one.
Well, Wilkie drives it long. Saints with a 10-point lead. It goes beyond defensive 50. And a strong grab taken on the outer side. Out there for the Giants. They go back inside forward 50 from O'Halloran. Running start, big pack grab. Hogan couldn't get there. Wilkie was there first. Tumbles it back up the corridor here for the Saints. Clark gets there as well. Hand pass out wide on the bounce. It's retrieved by Mason Wood. Looks back to the open side now through the middle of Giant Stadium. Oh, contact through midair. It was Butler down there against Buckley. Ball bounced inside 50 here for the Saints. Kamini can find the man down there in Philippo, who misses on the run from 40. So just missed near side here. So 11 points is St Kilda's lead. 13-13 plays 12-8. 22 going final term.
That's a big let off.
Yeah, Philip who kicked that. It was just about game over. And the Giants make them pay. Josh Kelly has it at half back. Finds Riccardi on the wing. It's possession number 7 coming up for Jake Riccardi. Back into the side this week. Plays on. Kicks to half forward. Strong grab, Kieran Briggs. Hasn't he been impressed with the ruckman in his first game for the year? GWS deep into attack. Hogan's underneath it with Battle. Was he held? That's what the Giants fans wanted. Under pressure is Burns. Deep in defence to Battle. Saints get themselves out of trouble. Wilkie, Stocker, good kick. Finds Dougal Howard. Well played by the Saints at a very important time. Time ticking down. They preserve what is an 11-point lead.
We've seen 8 straight behinds for either side since our last goal in this game. So opportunities wasted for both sides. St Kilda here by 11. Kick toward the outer side from Dougal Howard. They pile in from all angles again. Kelly shares it out there with Ash. Still alive here for the Saints now. Crouch run down from behind by Cal Ward. Ball bubbles free. Umpire says play on that outer logo, and we'll ball it up again. True centre wing on that far side of the ground. The Saints 13-13 plays GWS 12-8, 23 gone here in the final term.
And you do make sure, Alicia, that you've got your rotations right now, so your critical players are in the right positions in these last few minutes.
Briggs soccers it forward. Daniels just handballs it to himself, but Brad Hill was first on the scene, takes it over the boundary line. We spoke about Zach Butter's game on Friday night, how big that was. Hasn't Jack Sinclair responded this afternoon? Yep. 36 disposals, 12 of them contested, 6 score involvements, 2 goals for the Saints. He's been enormous.
Back in it comes. Briggs and Marshall doing the ruck work. Out to the boundary line. Trying to clear a path for Tom Green, but still gets there first. And the former Giant runs it out of bounds for a throw-in. 70 around from goal. The Giants attacking end. Fans have stuck around. Why wouldn't they? This game's still alive. The Saints by 11 points. In the time on now in the final term.
Giants need a goal, and they need one fast. Wangani Miller is back there. He's been really good as well. His handball, though, is picked off by Callan Ward. Finds some space. Kicks the Giants into attack. Cadman launches at it. Off hands. Will it sit up for Daniels? It won't. Over the boundary line. Left forward pocket for the Giants. They trail by 11 points.
They really need a ground ball win up there, the Giants. There's a lot of ball going in. The tools are flying. It's coming to ground, but Saints are just winning the ground ball at the present.
24 minutes gone in the last. Marshall and Jesse Hogan. Marshall gets it clear. He's so good at that. It'll bounce over the boundary line. Giants players calling for deliberate, and it's paid somehow. That is harsh on Rowan Marshall. It was out of a ruck contest.
So the Giants go back inside forward 50. Again, up they go. Riccardi in the pack. It's off hands and over for a throw-in. 20 around from the Giants' goal. A stoppage inside 50. The Saints lead by 11 points still. 25 going final term here. So Kilda hang on here. They'll be out of the top 4 on percentage. With Fremantle, known as NARM, during Sir Doug Nicholls' round through this week after their impressive win against the Cats yesterday. Back in it comes. Steele lays the tackle down there on Ward. And those two veteran midfielders get tangled up. 20 out, make it 40 out, in fact, from the Giants' goal.
Where's Toby?
He's in there somewhere.
Need one quickly, the Giants. If there are any chance of winning this game. Perryman gets the handball out to Callaghan. Now Lockie Whitfield. Great smother on his kick by Brad Hill. That was desperation in its finest form as the Giants were looking to go inside 50. Ball up now just outside 50 up the players fall on it. But what a smother by Brad Hill on the Whitfield kick.
So forgive me. None, of course, is Melbourne. Walial up is Fremantle. Sorry about that.
That was a huge smother because the Whitfield kick was about to hit Toby Green on the lead.
Away it comes out of the stoppage. Right over the football, Finn Callaghan. Crouch coming the other way, and we'll throw it back in. 70 around from, I think a few Freo fans are pretty happy about that sudden jump up the ladder as well after that one very big win. A big win awaits either the Saints or Giants here. St Kilda leads by 11 points. 26 gone final term.
Giants need one quickly if it's going to be them. Trying to get hands on the football is Tom Green. Eventually does to Whitfield, but GWS are going backwards. Connor Iden. And now Jack Buckley, he switches it, but he's found a teammate in space in Riccardi. He can kick the Giants deep into attack. He goes the handball into space instead. Well done by Lockie Ash to control it to a teammate, but they overplayed their hand there, the Giants. And Perryman was caught holding the ball when Riccardi had to go long, considering the lack of time on the clock. And that should just about do it for St Kilda, you feel. Still enough time for the Giants, but they are holding strong down back.
Only a couple of lead changes in this final term. 12 all up in the game. Kick comes to Webster. And Wood at half back. So the Tasmanian Webster holds it now on the western wing. 11 points is St Kilda's lead. 50 as well. I don't know if it was O'Halloran giving away some verbal on the umpire or something like that, but it looked like it was something the umpire heard that he wasn't too pleased with. Didn't see an obvious encroachment. Now I think Toby Green, in fact Brett Daniels asking for a please explain. So Webster from just forward of halfway. And just about ice the game here, the Saints.
It looks like that's what they're trying to do, chipping the ball around now. They've held firm super well in this last 8 minutes or so. It's been a barrage from the Giants inside 50.
Wood, high goes high inside 50 here for St Kilda. At the drop, wrapped up down there is Perryman. Great tackle it was by Butler. Kick was smothered in there as well. Loose football here for the Giants. They clear away through Perryman again, bouncing back to the wing.
Can Giants players get hands on the football? They can't. It's Callum Wilkie yet again who is saving the day for the Saints. And a much-needed win for St Kilda seems inevitable now. They switch it out to Brad Hill at half-back. He gets around Aaron Cadman and just pops it up to half-forward. Philippou will leap at the pack. Caminiti's there. Gathered by Philippou now. Gives it to Jack Steele. To Sinclair. Wouldn't it be fitting if he sealed the game for the Saints? He just pops it up inside 50 and Ryan Burns has marked. St Kilda will win. There's no doubt about that. Can Ryan Burns put an exclamation mark in a very important victory for Ross Lyon's side? He'll kick from 30 metres out on the slight angle to the left.
And I know I've mentioned it a few times today, but that last piece of play just summed it up for me. St Kilda didn't take the mark when the ball comes to the front and they've got numbers there. They win the ground ball and then they've got really good method around it. Get the ball to the users on the outside, and Sinclair beautifully hits up Burns.
He'll kick just after the siren, Ryan Burns. The Saints have won. Burns has missed. That won't bother them. Ross Lyon's team with an almighty settler here at Giants Stadium to give their hopes of playing finals football a big boost. As for GWS, it's quite the opposite. Their chances of finishing in the top 8 all but dashed. It's a St Kilda win at Giants Stadium.
course, Lions men coming off their biggest defeat of this relatively new season. They have win number 7 and now just on the cusp of the top 4 behind Melbourne or Nam on percentage. 12 points is that final margin here, 13-14-92. The Greater Western Sydney 12-8-80. The margin didn't get beyond 13 points. That was the Giants' way early in that, or midway through that first quarter. And it was always a seesawing affair. 12 lead changes in the end. It didn't change from early stages final term, and the Giants threw everything at the Saints, despite the fact they couldn't finish, and St Kilda with an important win here. Now 7-3 on the year. It was the Giants by 4 points at quarter time. Scores were level at half time, and most of you joined us. 3/4 time it was St Kilda by 3 points, and in the end the final margin is 12 points. The goal kickers in this game so far, I'll start with the winners. For St Kilda, it was a nice comeback for Max King. His first game back, 4 goals, 1 for him. 3 goals for Higgins, 2 for Sinclair, both very impressive. Gresham and Butler also with a couple. And meanwhile for GWS, it was, in the end, a couple of goals each to Hogan, to Toby Green and to Brent Daniels. Singles to O'Halloran, Kelly, Cornelio, Cadman, Briggs and Bedford. But it wasn't enough. The Saints hang on to win by 12 points in the final game of the first week of Sir Doug Nicholls round, AFL round 10. Your experts are Jason Saddington and Alicia Eva.
And a deserved win, I think, for St Kilda across the night. Whilst we had a close game, I think they probably were the better team and just had a bit more of the run of the play. They looked more likely, certainly in that second half. I think the first half of the game was real even contest, and we saw that with the scores equal at half-time clearly, but even possession-wise, a lot of the statistics at half-time, team statistics, were very even. The third quarter, we saw St Kilda dominate most of the play, probably didn't capitalise on their momentum enough to have a big enough lead going into three-quarter time. It was still a real tight contest, but in the end, through that last quarter, they just managed, like you mentioned, Alicia, to probably outnumber a little bit around the ground, around the contests, and they just had enough firepower in the end, I think, to just get that lead out there and then hold tight, because the last 10 minutes the Giants really tried to come hard at the Saints. They had a lot of inside 50s, but St Kilda held firm and I think rightly probably deserved the win in the end.
Yeah, I think so. I think that last quarter the Giants had, I think, ball in forward half was 85 to 15% going the Giants' way. So the Saints, particularly their back six, absolutely weathered the storm. But from plenty of help from their midfield that were getting back, and it wasn't just the midfield getting back. I thought the St Kilda midfield group just really outworked the Giants throughout the day. I know clearances and centre bounces were kind of seesawing like the score, but in terms of work rate around the ground, in terms of who was, I guess, finding themselves at drop of ball, and then the method off the back of it, St Kilda were just far and away better for mine than the Giants today. And what it did was it led to multiple, I guess, scoring options going inside 50 off the back of really good method in between the arcs. You couldn't really pinpoint, who was going to be the mark inside 50 because they had multiple options. I hope this is kind of making sense, but from a Giants perspective, it just looked like if it wasn't going through Toby Green or Brent Daniels for the first three quarters anyway, you weren't really sure how they were going to score. So for mine, St Kilda just had probably 2 or 3 more contributors across each line, and were deservedly the winners on the day.
We wondered how the forward line would readjust with Max King coming back in. They were so reliant on him last year. That was probably one of the knocks on the Saints last year under Brett Ratton, and tonight he was incredible.
Oh, and he was vital for sure, and certainly in that first half he set him up with 3 goals. He looked like he'd been playing every week. He hadn't missed a beat. He was hugely influential. I think Jack Buckley probably got back on top a little bit in the third quarter, but then he came alive again in the last, Max King. It's a really good performance to step in after missing so much footy, which to me says he's a true superstar of the competition.
And Higgins and Butler were so important around him. I remember doing the game Giants-Saints in Canberra, so started last year.
Yep.
I remember the big talking point around that game was this no-name Saints backline, Wilkie, Howard, Battle, and how they were starting to make names for themselves. Now they are players that we are well and truly accustomed to in the AFL. Wilkie's a superstar. Howard's incredibly solid. Battle's having another big year. And then you add the class of Jack Sinclair off half-back, stepping into the midfield, who had 37 disposals. And that back line is so dangerous for them. I guess the question is, can they hold it together for the entire season to get them into the top 8, which they couldn't do last year? This win certainly important in that quest.
And I do like what St Kilda have across the park. I think the other great pickup for their backline's been Stocker.
Yeah.
He was terrific tonight as well, winning possession down back. And, of course, Wanganeen Miller has been brilliant with his run and carry, and his ball use was another fantastic back. So, you do talk about early last year what St Kilda's backline. They're actually a very, very strong backline that do play well for each other. They win their contests. They're dynamic as well across half-back. They've got a strong midfield. And, with Max King in the team, and you've got those smaller players there as well, they do look great. And one tall that I was impressed with, while he might not have taken a lot of marks, was Caminetti.
Yes.
He looks like a real player of the future. The way he launched at the ball and went for his marks, he was very close to having a lot more impact.
And I think if he's not marking it, the system's built around those talls, whether they're marking it or not. If he's jumping at the ball, worst case is his opponent marks it. But I don't think he was outmarked on any occasion today. And then they had numbers representation fall of ball, and they were able to use him not necessarily as a marking target, but get set up around him.
Yep. And in the absence of Owens, once he went off, he became a very important player, Caminetti, to give him someone to go through.
The Saints have made their way down to the room, so I hope to bring you the song and some reaction from the winners here as well. Winners by 12 points in Kilda tonight.
Just a quick question, Alicia. The losses of Nick Haynes and Harry Himmelberg for GWS, how devastating were those? We'll get that answer from you in a moment. Let's get the St Kilda song from their rooms.
The team are coming in, and they've beautifully laid out the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flags for them. And the players are grabbing the flags off the ground. They're putting them over their back and forming a circle with the flags on their back. Really beautiful scenes here as they circle up for their song. And they get together, tight in the huddle. Here they are.
Wins on the road always mean plenty, don't they? And that's now 4 in a row that the Saints have won against GWS. Of course, Gabby mentioned that game last year at Monaco, which was the last time they met, round 6 of last year. So 4 in a row, the Saints have had the measure of Greater Western Sydney with the 12-point win here this afternoon. What's it like down there, Declan? We might see if we can get someone shortly. We'll get back to Declan Byrne. Declan, back down to you.
Hey guys, they're just going into a little meeting, so I'll look to get someone afterwards. But yeah, very happy scenes down here. Very stoked with the win. Okay, thank you, Declan. Yeah, 7 wins and 3 losses here. The Saints now on the cusp of the top 4 on percentage behind the Narm Demons. So the Giants now to 3 and 7. They'll slip now. I'm trying to think from 15th at the moment. The Giants. And by the way, we'll get to other results earlier as well, which saw a bottom of the ladder thumping Hawthorn over West Coast, but the Giants now stay in 15th because they're still a game clear of Hawthorn and North Melbourne for that matter, and the West Coast Eagles a game behind there after that 116-point loss today in Launceston. I'll get some stats shortly as well. I might just run through those now, Jason Saddington, while you ponder your 3-2-1 Player of the Year votes. And across the game, the Saints had 50 more disposals all up. Contested ball was plus 15. They had double the marks, which is extraordinary. 113 marks to 62 in all parts of the ground. Tackles were plus 6, the Giants. Inside 50s were 59 to 49 the Saints' way. As far as leading possession getters are concerned, it all starts with Jack Sinclair. 37 disposals, 12 contested, 8 marks, 2 tackles, 4 clearances, 6 inside 50s. And 7 score involvements for Jack Sinclair. He was phenomenal. Nazaya Wanganeen Miller,
had 29 touches, 19 kicks, 10 hand passes, 7 contested across the game. Rowan Marshall had 24, as did Steele and Soccer for the Saints. Meanwhile, Lockie Whitfield had 32 disposals. He was, I guess, their best player early on in the game and had a bit of a concern either side of quarter time, but came back out there, finished off the game. Tom Green, 29 disposals, Steve Cornelio, 26, and Josh Kelly with 24 and 6 clearances. So there you go. They have some pluck at home, don't they, the Giants, but they fell short today. It's a big win for St Kilda because, as you say, you want to win on the road. They've got the Hawks at home next week at Docklands in the Saturday afternoon game at 1:45, while the Giants are away against Geelong, Kardinia Park, Saturday in the twilight game. So what impressed you most, Alicia Eva, about St Kilda tonight?
Where do we start? I was really impressed with, even with Owens going down, they still had avenues to goal, and it wasn't necessarily Max King, even though he could have easily finished with 5 or 6. There was that one that just rolled to the goal line and a drop mark. He could have finished with 6 games back from injury. But it was the small forwards for mine that they just looked really dynamic inside forward 50. Higgins kicked 3, Gresham 2-2, Butler 2-1. So they've all had multiple shots on goal. So they just looked really dynamic inside their forward 50. And I really like the look of Wanganeen Millera in between the arcs, just what he can do with ball in hand. He doesn't need to touch the footy 30 times to have a huge impact on the game. So, yeah, it was really pleasing to see him strut his stuff.
And I like that St Kilda are able to bounce back from last week, their worst game for the year and a big thumping. I can't remember the word Ross Lyon used post-game last week, but it was something along the lines of, well, maybe just a blip or a bit of a hiccup and we'll see where we're at next week. And they've came out and they've bounced back. You know, it wasn't the perfect game. They certainly probably had more of the dominant play than the Giants did. They were challenged, but, you know, they got away with a really nice win on the road. So it's a great return, and I guess it does show that, you know, they're a team that's going to be fighting for around that top 8. You know, they're dangerous. They're going to have a crack, and it's certainly looking quite positive for the Saints off the back of what was disappointing last week, but they've certainly returned fire in a positive way.
Crowd 7,508 here tonight, so 7,500 at Giant Stadium for the final game of round 10, week 1 of Sir Doug Nicholls round, which starts again here in Sydney this Friday. The Swans and the Blues will bring you that from the Harbour City as well. You spoke, Alicia, about not only the way that St Kilda readjusted when Mitch Owens went down, but I suppose just when you have a moment like that in the game, and there is a bit that sort of serious sort of heart and mouth stuff, all the trainers and medical staff huddle around a player and they go on the stretcher, to readjust psychologically as well for both sides. There was carnage on both sides, wasn't there, tonight? But Mitch Owens was the big one with that head knock and the Medicab. So to readjust after that is also shown a good sign of resolve as well.
Yeah, it's a sign of good leadership too, and you know, both teams had to halt play for a good few minutes there, and particularly, you know, when we watch a game of football and we see footballers go down, we see, you know, as people spectating, we see a footballer go down, but out on the field, it's one of your mates. It's one of the mates that you work 9 to 5 with, you know, 5 6 days a week. So it can be really shocking when you see them go down in that kind of fashion and be carted off the field. So credit to the leadership group of both sides to make sure that when the ball was bounced again, they were back at it and they were switched back on. It also would have been really buoyant to see young Mitch Owens out on the bench after halftime.
Yeah, that would have lifted the side as well. Keep your text coming, by the way, 0437 774 774. We'll get to a few of those shortly. You're with Brett Sprigg, Jason Saddington, Alicia Eva, wrapping things up here on Grandstand AFL. Not only across the Sunday games today, Winster Hawthorn over West Coast, Collingwood over Carlton, and the Saints over the Giants, but we'll look back at a couple of talking points on this round as well. Your text here, Mikey from Bendigo. Hi guys, don't brag for either team, but was impressed by Kieran Briggs in the last quarter. Why hasn't he been in the team for so long? Oh, good thing, Mikey. Our VFL correspondent Alicia Eva is here. I imagine it's because you've got bigs that have been preferred to this point. Matt Flynn, for example. And it's just a matter of fighting his way in. Yeah, that, and Kieran's been battling a few little injuries here and there. They're not significant, long-term injuries, but it might be a little quad here or there. And he's been really solid in the VFL. I think for a ruckman like Matt Flynn as well, you want to give him some time to settle into the game as well. And he's been shouldering a hell of a lot of the load, in the first few rounds. And we've seen Himmelberg
go in there from time to time, and Riccardi as well. But majority has been Matty Flynn, so you need to give him some time to actually settle into the game too. And Kieran Briggs has been performing at VFL level and very, very well, mind you. So that's the nature of selection.
You often see best performances come out of players when it's the most competitive. And with Braden Pruce, really struggling his body once again with injury, number one ruck spot's up for grabs, and it's wide open. Is it Flynn or is it Briggs now? And I think that competitiveness for who wants to grab the mantle is what will drive both of them to probably be in the best form that they've been in their whole career so far.
Reaction from St Kilda's rooms shortly. 13-14-92 to 12-8-80 the final score here in the final game of round 10. Hi guys, I'm a Pies supporter. Love Jesse Hogan. I'm a fan of his and his footy story. Do the teams wear the same Guernseys following week as well? Asked Fran from Melbourne. Generally, it's kind of a bit of a mixed bag with the Sir Doug Nicholls round Guernseys. Depends on clashes and all the rest of it. A lot of clubs will wear theirs out of Indigenous round as well because it might work well against a former side, or there might be a significant occasion in like Darwin or Alice Springs where there's a strong connection to the community there. There's no hard and fast rule. I don't think all clubs will wear theirs again next week because of clashes and those sort of things, but there's no hard and fast rule, Fran, to answer your question. There you go. They are very nice, though. I've seen the Saints tonight in red. Black and yellow was also a different experience, but yes, the Saints here winning by 12 points. I think we head back down into the St Kilda rooms, and Declan Byrne is joined by Callum Wilkie.
Callum Wilkie, another great win on the road for you guys. How good was it out there?
Yeah, no, it was a tough game. It was back and forth, goal for goal. A couple of things didn't go away that we liked, but we adjusted and changed them and was able to get it going in the second half. So, pleasing win on the road. It's always nice to get a win away. So, take the 4 points and move to next week.
Take us out there when there's that big incident with Mitch Owens, a really shocking one to watch. You're out there. What is it like for the boys, and how do you guys reset? Yeah,
it's flattening a bit because Mitch has been so good. He's such a courageous player, so strong. He's going to be a star. I know it's a bit shocking seeing him lying on the ground like that. But to the boys' credit, sort of have to move on. There's nothing you can do about it then and there. We obviously care for him after, but we sort of just wanted to do it for him.
And down in the back line, what was the biggest, role for you guys? What were you looking to do to get on top of those GWS forwards, and what worked?
Yeah, I mean, Toby Green's a massive player for them. The captain, he's huge and probably got on top of us in the first half a little bit. And, some of their key forwards can take some strong marks. So we just wanted to, nullify them as much as possible. And, I feel like we were able to do it in the second half. They probably got on top a little bit in the first half and made the most of their opportunities. So, I thought we did well.
We'll head upstairs for a few more questions from the guys.
Cam, Jason Saddington, mate, congratulations personally on your game. I thought you were fantastic down back. You've obviously got Dougal down there and Josh Battle as well. It really looks like it's clicking between you guys. What's been the secret to the synergy?
Yeah, I mean, we've played a bit of footy together now, 2 or 3 seasons, or 3 or 4 maybe, and just learning each other and, what each person's going to do and, building continuity like that. It's great, and we have a lot of trust within each other, and it's coming out.
And off the back of last week, I know it was probably your most disappointing team performance for the year, but you've bounced back. What was the focus this week to make sure that you guys got back to your best footy?
Yeah, I mean, it was sort of hard to review because our effort wasn't there. So it's hard to sort of look at the game plan when, our run and our spread, which is such a big part of our game, wasn't there. And we just wanted to get back to that. I think it's been highlighted how strong of a running team we are, and we just wanted to get back to Saints footy, and I feel like we did that a bit today.
Cal, Alicia Eva here, upstairs. Congrats on the win, mate. Just want to talk to you, ask you about Jack Sinclair. An outstanding game. He's had the 37. He's hit the scoreboard twice. What energy does he bring to your team? And when you see him kick goals and get up and about, what impact does it have across the ground?
Yeah, he's huge. I mean, whether it's half back for us or he goes in the midfield, he sort of just does it all. He's sort of a Mr. Fix-It in a way, and he just relishes it. And he sort of just puts the boys on the back, and we sort of go with him, and he's been huge. And I didn't realise he had 37. Now looking back, he did have a lot of the ball, but those 2 goals, he's such class by foot, and you're just safe when he's got the ball in the hands, and which is huge in this competition. He was awesome. And of course, good to see Max King back, I'm sure. Yeah, definitely. It's nice to have the big fella back. I think he's been itching to go for a while now, and we've missed him. But everyone else who stepped up has been huge. But we know what sort of player he is. He's going to be a star. So it was good to see him duke a few and kick a couple of goals.
Callum, a loss is a loss. You've had a couple of tight ones this year, of course, and then last week 8 or 9 goals at the hands of the Crows. How do you come out of that? What's the team meeting like afterwards, and how do you know you can bounce back? Admittedly against a Giants outfit who's not expected to go too far this year, but to have a win as you did today away from home, what does Ross Lyons say to you midweek?
Yeah, I think, like I said before, like the effort wasn't there last week, so it's hard to sort of, look at the game plan when the effort's just not there. Our run wasn't there, which is what we pride ourselves on. So we just wanted to get back to that, and that was sort of the message. We probably didn't live up to our values that we hold within the 4 walls. So we just wanted to get back to our footy. It was pretty simple. We didn't really need to tweak too much because the effort's first and then game plan second. So that was the message.
Callum, this is your 95th consecutive game today. You haven't missed a game since your debut back in 2019, is that right?
Yeah, no, that's correct.
What's the secret to it?
Look, don't know. Touch wood, no injuries, and haven't been dropped, I guess. Hopefully I can continue going. I take a lot of pride for being able to front up week in, week out for the boys. Hopefully I can continue the streak. I sort of liking it now that I've played nearly 100 games in a row, so I take a lot of pride in it.
The best ability is availability, Callum, but you've got more ability as well.
Ross says that as well.
Okay, there you go. Just as far as going back to your story, as far as being a 23-year-old rookie, did you ever give up hope that you'd make it this far?
I gave up hope probably a couple of years out of when I was probably 20, 21, not thinking I'd make it, and sort of just enjoy playing footy at the highest level which was possible, which was SANFL at the time. So I was playing with my best mates at my home club, so I was enjoying footy, and I think that's probably what sort of got me here, was just getting back to enjoying footy and playing with my mates, and that sort of made me sort of love it again. I probably didn't think, I thought the dream was over, but I guess here we are now.
You got the Hawks next week. They won by 20 goals today against the Wooden Spooners in waiting, the West Coast Eagles. But that's your next assignment at Docklands next week. What do you see in the Hawks next week?
Another tough test going into the bye. So, we just want to sort of recover. It's a 6-day break. I guess they've got a 6-day break as well. So, they're not going to just fold over. So we're going to have to bring that effort and intensity and that run that we brought today, and we'll review this game and look to go to the Hawks and hopefully put in a performance that we can be proud of and our fans can be proud of.
Cal, well played tonight. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Callum Wilkie with us on ABC Sport. You're with Grandstand AFL for the next 15 minutes. We might get across to the Giants rooms quickly, get a quick reaction from there. But Alicia, Eva, thank you. I want to say a heartfelt thanks to you because we were player short today. We had a debutant lined up. I won't say who it is just yet in case they're right to go at some stage, but got a last minute call saying they couldn't make it. So you've answered the call. You were here for the VFL, but we love having you as part of our team as always. So we'll see you next time.
No, thank you very much. I've got to shoot off early. I'm sorry, crew, but I'll see you soon. ABC Grandstand.
Alicia Eva, Giants captain with us on ABC Grandstand AFL, as Alicia just mentioned. Okay, Saints win by 12 points here. 13-14 plays 12-8. Let's just go back and look at what happened earlier in Launceston. I mentioned that in that interview with Callum Wilkie. Hawthorn won 22-10, 142 against the West Coast Eagles, 4-26 at York Park. Mitch Lewis kicked 6. James Sicily had 30 disposals, and Dom Sheed had 34. The West Coast Eagles, for what it's worth, and it's not worth much because they've been beaten, Jason Saddington, by the next worst team by 20 goals. And we were sort of pondering at half-time, I guess, to contextualise the historical low for the West Coast Eagles, where they've been before in their depths as a football club. Have they been this low before? I'll look at the here and now, more importantly, because when a team is struggling, you look at the games coming up, and you go, okay, where's that win going to come from? Where is that next win? In the case of West Coast, it's their second win of the year. Where's that going to come from? And off the back of today, you just can't see it happening.
Not presently, no. I mean, even going in today, no one probably expected them to beat Hawthorn down there in Tasmania on the road. And with what they've got available in terms of selection is really tough and tight at the moment. And nobody probably expected them to win today, but I don't think anyone expected them to get beat by 20 goals. In a bottom of the table clash. That's probably the scary bit that you look at and go, well, the other team in the competition that's probably been performing almost as poorly as we have, we've come up against them and we're not even close to where they're at. That's a difficult bit for West Coast and where they're at. And I think, I mean, you can look at the now and you can say we've got injuries, but it's been consistent now for quite a while. And, you know, across this year, you can look at where it's been in terms of competitiveness. They haven't been close for a while, but the injuries over the past 2.5 years now, it starts to become too much of a pattern for me to go, well, you know, you can't keep going down this path. Things have got to change there at the footy club.
And you look as well at I guess the Harley Reid Cup and all the sort of the tongue-in-cheek stuff that goes on around that. That's no consolation to the players. The players aren't thinking about, let's get a number one pick, or we can split the number one pick and bring in some more players, which I think West Coast might be inclined to do, as we saw last year, the number one pick get traded. But that's the other thing. It might well be a bit of a game for fans at this point to put up the white flag and say, okay, we're playing for draft picks, but the players aren't. They still have to go out there and be demoralised in the way West Coast were today in Launceston against Hawthorn.
Well, and that's the hardest part. So internally now, as a player and even coaches, you know, we've got to find a way to motivate ourselves, pick ourselves up and find that little bit of light that we can look at and go, okay, if we can just step to this point, we're taking ground and we're moving forward. Now, what is that light? I don't know. You know, what's the thing that they can go, we can just work to this next week and then the week after we'll build on that. Because you're probably not looking at wins at this point. It's like, how competitive can we be? How can we get back to being a competitive football team? Dependent on who's on the park and who's not. That's the thing you got to look at. So to find the motivation, still not even halfway through the year, to be fronting up, to be turning up to training, to be excited about going to work, that's the big challenge.
Spotlight on, well, both Collingwood and Carlton today, and the Pies won that game at the MCG by 28 points, 13-785 to 7-15-57. More scoring shots for the Blues. That's now 6 straight wins for Craig McRae and the Magpies. They've got North next week. My check kicked 4. There was a bit of to-do about a gut punch which Dacos laid into Blake Acres, but I think it'll be a fine, having seen the replay a few times. The Brownlow favourite, of course, which is always consequential, but the Pies winning now a 6th straight with a view to 7 in a row next week against North.
Yeah, and they're ultra impressive. They're a juggernaut at the moment, the Pies. You look at which team can go with Collingwood. You know, they're very dominant in the games that they're playing. If anyone, Brisbane's probably the challenger at present, I think. And I'm not sure when they've got each other.
Well, Brisbane beat them in round 4.
Yep. So it's a long wait. But, I mean, they're flying. The other questions, Carlton, and there's a lot of pressure on the Blues historically because of the football club that they are and because of how close they were last year. But I think there's a little bit more to. I wouldn't just look at Michael Voss on that one.
The Blues are coming here to face the Swans when round 11 gets underway with the Marngrook game at the Sydney Cricket Ground next Friday. Down to the Giants' rooms, Declan Byrne.
I've got Tom Green with me down here. Tom, a disappointing result. What are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, it is really disappointing. I think, you know, we've had another honourable loss, which I'm sick of saying and sick of being a part of. I think we just lost key contests, and when we had momentum in the game, we weren't able to capitalise, and St Kilda were, so we need to become a little bit more clinical.
I'm sure you don't want to blame injuries, but 2 players down with concussion, so you're down a player on the bench. How does that affect you boys throughout the game and especially towards the end?
Yeah, no doubt. It certainly doesn't make our jobs easier, particularly with 2 sort of key defensive posts. But, we don't want to have that as an excuse. We completely back, the boys that are going to come in and play those roles instead. So I don't think that's, a telling tale of the game tonight.
We're right after the game, but is there something that stands out to you that didn't work today that you wanted to execute against the Saints?
Yeah, as I said, I just don't think we were clinical with ball in hand, so we'd lose key centre bounces probably at moments when we had a bit of momentum in the game, and then St Kilda went down the other end and kicked goals, and then key moments we probably just weren't good enough in the contest. We probably lost key contests, and our pressure was a little bit inconsistent. Again, like I said, when we had the momentum, we just probably weren't clinical going enough inside forward 50 and able to turn that into scores and put on scoreboard pressure, and then the Saints were the other way.
A proud Canberra boy, you're out there against Jack Steele a lot, another Canberra guy. Was there any back and forth?
Not so much back and forth, but I know Jack quite well, and he's a lovely guy. So and he's also a superstar of the competition. So it's certainly something that I relish going up against. A guy like that who's sort of made a really good name for himself in the AFL. So yeah, it's always a good battle against him.
And it's Sir Doug Nicholls round. Toby Bedford, I know, spoke to the boys recently about what it means for him to be a proud Indigenous man. What do you take out of a round like this?
I think it's, an unbelievable round. The jerseys we had tonight were, amazing. And I think it's really important that, us as a society continue to celebrate and recognise our First Nations people. So, it's a fantastic round and, it's really special for, as you said, Toby, but not only him, I think everybody to be involved in and be a part of.
And looking forward, I think you've got Geelong next week in Geelong. I know you said you don't like talking about honourable losses. Geelong coming off a premiership, one of the favourites this year. How do you boys keep that faith, keep that momentum and positivity that you can upset teams like Geelong?
I think we've shown throughout the year, in parts of pretty much every single game and the games where we win, that our best footy is without a doubt good enough. So it's just a matter of being able to put that together for 4 quarters, which, is a challenge for every team in the competition. We're having a lot of trouble with that at the minute, so I don't think it's that hard to keep the positivity, though. Like I said, we know our best footy is good enough. It's not disheartening that thinking, we're no chance of beating these guys, but we just need to be able to put together a really quality 4-quarter performance, and if we do that, I think we're a really good chance of being able to push them on.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Tom.
Declan Byrne down there with Tom Green. Thanks, Declan, for your efforts right across the afternoon here as well. Tom Green was among their best. 29 disposals, 18 contested, 9 tackles, 9 clearances, 2 inside 50s and 5 score involvements for the young Canberran. With that in mind, Jason Saddington, who gets your 3-2-1 Player of the Year votes?
3-2-1. We'll start with the one vote. A player for the Giants that we spoke about a lot throughout the call that we thought was fantastic and did a lot of really good things for the Giants. That was Brent Daniels. I thought he was electrifying. He was the one player that always looked likely to score or set up some score. I think he had 9 score involvements. So the one vote for Brent Daniels. 2 votes to the man that we spoke to from the Saints rooms, Callum Wilkie. His intercept work and his marking ability and ability to read the flight of the ball, I thought, was outstanding. He continually repelled the Giants' attacks, even across the middle of the ground. He'd send the ball back inside 50 for the Saints. I was super impressed with Cal Wilkie. And the 3 votes, no surprise, is Jack Sinclair. An unbelievable game of footy. The 37 touches, 2 goals, a trillion score involvements and everything else that he did. He was clearly, by far and away, best player on the ground, and he looked good doing it too with the mullet and the long sleeves.
3 for Jack Sinclair, 2 for Callum Wilkie, 1 to Brent Daniels in the ABC Footballer of the Year as adjudged by Jason Saddington. So that's how it stands after St Kilda's 12-point win over the Giants here to close round 10. And there were 12 lead changes today as well. So it was a seesawing affair, but the Saints held on to win at the end. Looking back on round 10, we saw Yatapulti beat Narn. That was Port over the Demons by 4 points back on Friday night. Controversy reigned at Docklands yesterday, Sado. Swans by 3 points. This controversial free kick based on the interchange breach by North Melbourne. I'll sort of work through it quickly with you, but is it a fair punishment for such a breach as that?
It's probably harsh in that it's the match-winning goal that cost North the game. I think the free kick itself, the free kick in 50 metres, isn't it? So if it was in the Swans' defensive 50, it probly doesn't impact the game.
It's at the next stoppage, so it just so happened the ball rumbled downfield, and that's why the Swans are inside 50. That's the hard luck element.
Have we had too many of those infringements before, of too many interchanges? I think teams and clubs are normally very good at monitoring. I'll be interested to find out the wash-up as to how it happened.
Well, there are volunteers. The boys were discussing it earlier, but there was, obviously the AFL also have stewards monitoring either team, and they can give you a warning, I think, at 65, so 10 to go, but they don't necessarily interfere if they see you going over.
Yeah,
so that could change this week, for all we know. But
and that's shattering for North Melbourne fans, clearly. I mean, it's been a bit of a tough period. It's been a big week for them as a footy club. So, disappointing for them to lose the game in the end.
Now, the Dogs beat Adelaide by 45 points in Ballarat. So the Western Bulldogs have now had, 5 in a row for Luke Beveridge's men.
Yep.
Freo beat Geelong by 29. Of course, Freo adopting the name Walyulup for the local traditional place name in Sir Doug Nicholls round. That was a 5-goal win yesterday over at Perth Stadium. The Q Clash went 43 points the way of the Lions over the Suns. There'll be some pressure on the Gold Coast Suns. We won't hear about it an awful lot because they're sort of out of sight, out of mind a little bit, Stuart Dew and the Gold Coast Suns. But, of course, it was up against epic Dreamtime at the G, where Essendon beat Richmond by 1 point. It was their first win, I think, in 10 years in that showcase event of Indigenous round, and Essendon won that 10-11-71 to 10-10-70. Do you believe in the Bombers?
Their best is good enough to challenge. I think they're around middle of the road, which is probably somewhat of a step forward from where we've seen last year and the year before.
They're just outside the top 8 now. So I'll give you that ladder as it stands. Collingwood are a game clear on top. Brisbane and Yatapulti, Port Adelaide, are also equal second. Naarm, the Demons, are fourth. St Kilda, with this win today, are just outside the top 4 on percentage. The Bulldogs also on those 7 wins on 28 points. Geelong, Adelaide make up the top 8, as well as Essendon and Wallula, the Dockers, just outside that. Carlton have slipped now with that third straight loss down to 11th. The Swans are half a game behind them. Gold Coast in there as well. Richmond, the Giants, and the lowly Hawthorn, North Melbourne, and the very lowly West Coast Eagles. That's how it all looks. Earlier today I mentioned Hawthorn beat them by 116 points and Collingwood by 28 points over Carlton. So the round starts here in Sydney next week, the second week of Sir Doug Nicholls' round. It's the traditional Marngrook game. Sydney's cricket, I guess, a showpiece event. And they do it so well, don't they? Against your former side as well. So it's the Jason Saddington Cup in another life. The Swans and Carlton meeting to get the round 11 underway next Friday. The Saints take on Hawthorn at Docklands in the earlier start. Melbourne, or Naarm v Wallula, as it is next week as well, in the other afternoon Saturday game. Toby Green's 200th, if he plays, is against the Cats at Cardinia Park in the Saturday twilight game. The Suns take on the Bulldogs. Huge game for both sides in Darwin. And then the Eagles have Essendon at Perth Stadium as well. Saturday night, the fixture there. Sunday's games are Richmond v Port Adelaide. Collingwood over North Melbourne with some rollicking momentum behind Craig McRae's men, and Adelaide have the final say against the Brisbane Lions in the last game of round 11 next week. That's how it all looks, so can't wait for that.
That's not a bad finish to the round. Adelaide-Brisbane, yeah. I do like that matchup. The Crows were disappointing yesterday against the Bulldogs, who they look top-notch too at the moment. So I'm looking forward to that game next weekend, the last round, the last game.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so Adelaide sitting 8th, as I said, at the moment, and Brisbane, of course, up in 2nd, but it's a bit of a logjam up there, of course, with just a couple of games separating 1st down to 6th. So there you go. It's a key part of the year, approaching the halfway mark. Some teams have buys the week after, so that's how close
we hit that part. Yeah, okay.
There we go. Thanks, Sado. Thanks for your company, as always. We'll see you next time.
Catch us. See you soon.
Thanks to Alicia Eva. Thanks to Daniel Garb. Thanks to Declan Byrne on the boundary and in the rooms with some great reaction from both sides in St Kilda's 12-point win over Greater Western Sydney here at Giants Stadium. The lights are still on, only slightly. The deck held up, which was a talking point earlier on, but we didn't see anything too dramatic come out of that. It was just the injuries through head knocks and other collisions which caused drama for both sides, namely Mitch Owens for St Kilda. So all the best to him. Thanks to our tech, Tegan Nichols, to Akash Fodadar back in the studio, to our team in Melbourne and Tassie today and right across the weekend. Thank you for your company most of all. We'll do it all again from Friday in Sydney for the Marngrook game. The Swans up against Carlton at the Sydney Cricket Ground. It's good night from us here on Grandstand AFL.